Hey, folks, this is Mark Joyner. We are 10 minutes before start. I see a couple folks already online waiting, standing by, saying, hey, wait a minute, I'm not hearing any sound. That's because we're not starting yet, guys. We got 10 minutes left before we get started. I just want to hear from you guys, where you're from, who you are. Tell me what's going on in your life. If you are tuned in to hear more people preaching doom and gloom about the coronavirus, you are in the wrong place. You can get your fill of that on TV right now. If, however, you are here to learn about the single most profitable secret in history, you are in exactly the right place. Pardon my interruption there, guys. Just had to check my phone. I was getting somebody pointing at my phone, telling me my phone was still on. I got to have that turned off. I think that would be a very good idea before we get started here. Anyway, we have got exactly 9 minutes before we get started. I don't know what time it is where you are around the world. You've got people tuned in from every continent, but I would love to hear who you are and where you're from and what your situation is right now. We've got 8 minutes before we get started. I see Roy here. Welcome, Roy. Glad to have you on. All right, welcome, Melva from Alberta. All right, I'm seeing Jade from Sydney. Roy, I see you, buddy, by the way. I see your comments. All right, we got Don from Dallas. All right. We have Edward from Manchester. Man, we got people from all over coming in. We got people tuned in. Must be late for you guys over there in Manchester. I appreciate you staying up late. I know we've got people from all over the world tuning in right now. It's going to be easier for some of you guys. We're going to spend a good minute of time here together. We've got some powerful information to go over. We're getting started here in 7 minutes. Kathy from Wisconsin says she's getting to retire from her job. She needs to add multiple income streams. Well, guess what? You are in the right place, Kathy. And I think a lot of people might be retiring from their jobs a little earlier than they thought with some of the things going on in the world right now. And if you think coronavirus is something, you guys haven't read your roadmap to money in 2020 yet. We've got Luke from the Netherlands. Very great to have you on. If you guys have read your roadmap to money in 2020, that came out at exactly the right time, because everything that I've been talking about for the last several years now, decades now, is starting to come true right before our eyes. So we've got a lot of really interesting things happening. I don't think coronavirus is anything near what we have in store for us ahead. So if you guys are panicking about that right now, don't worry. Panic is the wrong response. We've got Mike here from Denver. Great to have you. Oh, that's Roy. Okay, he's in Mile High, Colorado. Okay, I thought that was, okay, misread that. Mile High, beautiful place, beautiful place. All right, guys, we are 6 minutes out. Don is asking, roadmap for 2020. Don, if you go to your roadmaptomoney.com, you can find that document. That is something you definitely want to read immediately. It is going to give you a large, broad spectrum overview of what is going on in the world right now. There are phenomena occurring in the world that are far more significant even than coronavirus. It's a big revelation to most people. Don't be intimidated by the size of it. It is 371 pages long, but most people read it in a sitting. There are lots of images. It's very large type. I made it very easy to understand, but it gives you an essential background of what's actually going on in the world right now. Just so happens that it came out a few weeks before things started getting a little loopy here in the world. And again, this is not the place for panic. This is the place to learn about hope and positivity And that is what is going to get you through tough times and even allow you to prosper during tough times, as we'll be learning here very shortly. We've got Elaine from South Carolina. South Carolina, beautiful place. Got Paul here from Manchester, UK. Strange times, but first signed up to Simpleology 10 years ago. Great to have you on board, Paul. That's awesome. Don asks, sorry, Mark, what was that URL again? Don, that URL is yourroadmaptomoney.com. Yourroadmaptomoney.com. In fact, that document goes hand in hand with what we're going to be talking about here tonight in about 4 minutes. Okay, we got a couple people asking about that website address. I'm going to repeat it again. Yourroadmaptomoney.com. All right, we got Jane from Texas, Kevin from Seattle. Awesome. We got people from all over the world. That's great, because this is all about bringing people from all over the world together and prospering during tough times. And again, if you guys are here to hear people preaching doom and gloom about coronavirus and panic and all that, you're in the wrong place. This is not the place where you're going to hear that. You're going to get your fill of that if you just turn on any news channel right now, or if you just go online. Guys, there has never been a better time in history to become prosperous. You are going to understand that very deeply by the end of this little bit of time that we spend together here. I am the antidote to what you are hearing in the news right now. We've got 3 minutes before we get started here, guys. We're going to get started on time. We're giving everybody time to come on. I know everybody's standing by, waiting, ready to go. I see a lot of comments flying through. This is great. Great to have you guys. So excited. Guys, if you're here, tell me who you are and where you're from. Tell me who you are and where you're from. We're going to get started here in about 3 minutes. We got to start on time because there are some people who are going to tune in at exactly the moment when we promised to start. And I'm a man who likes to keep his promises. So we will start exactly on time. We are 2 minutes out. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're from. All right. We have Pete from Perth. That's some alliteration going on there. I like that. Okay. Don's got the URL. Great. I'll give that out again just for the folks who missed that. If you haven't read your roadmap to money in 2020.com yet, it's a very important document to read. It goes hand in hand with what you are about to be learning here. We're going to be kind of taking a deeper dive on some of that stuff, but you absolutely need to read that. We have got Phil from Ecuador. I don't know how to pronounce that city. Phil, is that Quito? Am I saying that correctly? Quito. My Spanish is I got the same level of Spanish ability that just about everybody in California has. Un poquito. All right, got Steve from Simi Valley. We got Glenn from Boston. Al says, hello. Al, I can hear you loud and clear. I see you. We got Donald from Naples. Hey, Donald. Good to see you around again, buddy. Jason from Concord. All right. Hiram, Queens, New York. Great to have you on, Hiram. We got Bill from Albuquerque. We got people flooding in. We got Tom from Chiang Mai. What's up, buddy? Great to have you on board, brother. All right. Claire from Barrie, Ontario, Canada. All right. Got people from all over the world tuning in today. Guys, we are about 1 minute out. In 1 minute, we are going to get started exactly on time. We got Sean from Alberta, Canada. Before we get started here, I just want to remind everybody where you are. If you are here to hear preaching about doom and gloom about coronavirus, you're in the wrong place. Just turn on the news. You'll get plenty of that. You're here for the antidote to all of that. We are 5 seconds out, guys. So let us go ahead and get started here. It is now showtime. All right, everybody. This is Mark Joyner, and you are here live for the single most profitable secret in history. This one secret is responsible for the success of the wealthiest people in history, from King Solomon all the way to Bill Gates. Now, I just want to let you guys know a little bit about me. I'm Mark Joyner. I am the founder and CEO of Simpleology, and I want to personally welcome you to this masterclass, and congratulations. You are obviously an action taker and serious about your success and future. Otherwise, you would not be here right now. So today we are going to cover how to harness the power of the single most profitable secret in history to dominate your market in 2020 without spending money on ads or wasting time creating content. If you want to know how to do that, just type yes in the talk to Mark box. Now, guys, we got a 10-second delay here, so it might take a little bit a minute for me to get some feedback from you guys. So I just want to remind you guys, if you want to know how to do that, type yes. I want to see lots of participation. Okay, I'm seeing some yeses flooding through. Guys, listen, I demand participation of the audience, and I'll tell you why. The more you participate, the better your learning experience is going to be. It's going to tell me that you're listening, you're paying attention, you're not distracted somewhere, you're not checking your phone. And by the way, all that stuff should be off. All of your notifications should be off. You should be 100% right here, right now. And I tell you what, guys, okay, I'm seeing all these yeses flood through. You guys are ready. Guys, the more you participate, the more action you take, the better results you're going to get. All right, I like this crowd already. We've got lots of these yeses. Let's go into this, guys. I want to show you what multimillionaire marketer Eben Pagan has to say about the secret you are about to discover.
I would like to nominate that idea as the best single new internet marketing tactic that I've heard this year, probably.
Wow.
Any seconds on that one? That's just a pretty damn good, simple little idea.
Not only have I lost a lot of weight and dramatically improved my fitness in the few years since that video, as you're about to discover, I have also taken the secret I shared with Eben to a whole new level. But first, let's do some housekeeping. What I'm about to share with you over the next couple hours or so is so life-changing. Trust me, you want to pay attention to every word of this powerful presentation. I can guarantee I'm about to share some things you have never seen or heard anyone talk about before. So close all other tabs and browser windows. Silence your phone. Close your office or bedroom door. Lock up the dog, and don't allow yourself to be disturbed or distracted. If you want to survive and even thrive from what is coming, you owe it to yourself and your loved ones to give this your full attention. And by the way, what is coming makes coronavirus look like a Sunday walk in the park, guys. And if you read your roadmap to money in 2020, you will know that by now. But first, let me just talk about this. How does attention work? You guys are promising me that you will pay attention, but we need to think a little bit about what that means. What does attention mean, and how does it actually work? Well, first of all, attention is critically important because the better you pay attention, the more retention you have. Attention equals retention. Attention equals retention, and retention tends to equal action. All right. So how do you pay attention? How do you pay attention? Well, you have to care about what I'm talking about. You have to care. So if you want to not just survive, but thrive through what is coming ahead right now, you need to really, really care about your future. You need to really care about the future of your family, about your loved ones. You need to care. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spend a couple moments teasing your mind a little bit, making you care even more. So let's talk about what we'll cover today. Secret number 1, stealth tactics for turning adversity into profit. Seems pretty timely right now. All right. Secret number 2, your 3 essential hedges against the impending digital marketing meltdown of 2020. And by the way, the digital marketing meltdown of 2020 is but a small fraction of what is on the horizon, and you will know all about that if you have read your roadmap to money in 2020. Secret number 3, how the biggest companies in the world grow massive customer lists without spending a dime on advertising. What we will also cover today, how to avoid being crushed by the inevitable big tech slaps due to come any day now. I'll also show you how to get unlimited traffic and leads without giving a dime to the Silicon Valley sharks like Facebook, YouTube, Google, Twitter, etc. Heck, without spending a dime at all. I'm going to show you the deviously simple mindset trick you can use to overcome every single barrier we will all face along the way. The most effective science-based plan for boosting your brain power, your lifespan, and your health. Pay very close attention to that, because if ever there was a time for it to be important, it is right now. You're also going to learn how to join a rapidly growing secret society of entrepreneurs I've assembled who are actively helping each other build all of the 3 essential hedges and much, much more. I'm going to make a promise to you guys right now. Trust me, if you pay attention and take action on what I'm about to tell you, the next couple hours can transform your business and your life. That's a pretty big and bold promise even for a marketer. But when I get done, hopefully you'll agree, because I always live up to my promises. And guys, that is a value to me, and I strongly encourage you to incorporate that into your value system as well for many, many, many reasons. One thing is it will actually make you more successful and more profitable in life. And if you think about that, I'm pretty sure you'll understand exactly why. You want to stay to the very end because I've got a ton to cover, so I'll be going pretty fast. Take notes. However, when you stay to the end, I'll make sure you also get a copy of my slides so you can refer back to them. So don't get hung up too much on taking notes, guys. I'd rather have you paying direct attention. Also, as I mentioned when you signed up, at the end, I'll be sticking around for a marathon Q&A session. I normally charge $10,000 per hour for one-on-one coaching and consulting. So this is your only chance to ask me any questions you have and pick my brain 100% free. Now, I have another surprise free bonus I'll be giving you at the end. I'll tell you more about that in a minute, but trust me, you'll want it. Also, at the end, if it's okay, I'm going to share with you a way you can get all the results we'll be talking about today faster and easier. Is that okay? Just type yes in the Talk to Mark box if I have your permission to share that with you. And again, guys, I demand strong participation here. There's about a 10-second delay. And again, there's a reason for me asking you guys to participate. It's me checking in, making sure that not only are you paying attention, but you are also engaged. All right? If you are engaged in this process, that means your attention is not elsewhere. It is right here where it should be. All right, I get lots and lots of yeses coming through here. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Victoria, Matthew, Brian. Man, all right, we got tons and tons of Paul, Maria, Vince, Keith, Joyce. Wow, okay. Man, Midette, Joel, Gene, Steve. All right, okay. I think I have everybody's permission and I think everybody's engaged. Remember, guys, engagement is important. All right. So, who am I and why should you listen to me? I'm a former U.S. Army officer and a Cold War veteran of military intelligence. I started marketing online all the way back in 1991. I have founded over 30 plus startups. Currently, I'm the founder and CEO of Simpleology with over 1 million registered users. And by the way, that was a number that we published 10 years ago. I'll leave that to your imagination as to what that number is now. I'm the author of over a dozen books in print in 25 languages. Several are used as marketing textbooks in universities around the world many of which have become #1 bestsellers. I have spoken at events all over the world. I have been interviewed on countless podcasts, webinars, and teleseminars. And as you can see here is just a handful of the 12 plus books I've written. I have lost count of how many books I've written. That doesn't even include all the ebooks and whatnot I've written. And I want you guys to take a look at the right-hand side of the screen here. You will see me kicking the Da Vinci Code's butt down to the number 2 spot on Amazon. I have done this multiple times. I did this another time all the way back in 2001 after, it was early 2002, right after 9/11. Everybody knew Rudy Giuliani, not as Trump's lawyer back then, but as what they called the mayor of the world. Everybody was in love with Rudy Giuliani in 2002. Now, whether you love Trump or hate Trump, back then, everybody thought he was the mayor of the world. On the day of a book launch I saw that his book was getting plugged on CNN every 30 minutes. Now, back in that year, 2002, CNN was kind of the only cable news source. So if you were getting plugged on CNN every 30 minutes, that meant you had a #1 bestseller for your book. I logged into Amazon, and sure enough, he was #1. I kicked his butt down to #2 as well. All right. So, and by the way, I did that using the most profitable secret in history that we're going to be learning here very shortly. But rather than just talking about myself, I figure I'd let one of my students say a few words about the impact my teaching made on his life.
Hey, my name is Russell Brunson, and today I wanted to tell you a story about my very first mentor online. You may or may not have heard of him. His name is Mark Joyner. And it's funny because I got started online about 15 years ago, before Facebook, before MySpace, before most of the things that we're used to, that we use to grow companies online today. And I remember I was getting on and trying to figure stuff out, and I tried a whole bunch of things that didn't work. And at the time, I kept hearing this person's name over and over and over again. He's been referred to nowadays as the godfather of internet marketing. And the reason why is because he was inventing all these ideas and these concepts, and he kept doing them. He was the person who created the very first ebook, and he launched it out there. He created ad tracking before that was a thing. The first pixel was something that he did. And I remember hearing these stories about this guy, and I was like, I got to figure out, how can I meet him? How can I understand what he knows? But back then it was different. There was no social media to contact people. And about that time, he was actually exiting his internet marketing training company. And he put up for sale this thing called it the farewell package. And it was basically, I think it was 20 CDs of him interviewing people he had worked with throughout the time, throughout his career, and a whole bunch of other things. And he was selling this for $1,000. And I remember at the time, I didn't have a job. My wife was working. I was wrestling. I didn't have $1,000. I remember watching this launch and watching every single day as people were buying the course, and it was getting more and more closer to being sold out. And finally, towards the end, I begged my wife. I was like, I don't know why, but I know that if I had the information inside of Mark's mind, in my mind, we could figure this whole game out. And she said, okay, I trust you. You should go for it. And so I spent $1,000 we didn't have, bought the farewell package. And I remember getting it in the mail and holding it. And it was all these CDs. And I was like, this is the key to my future. I have to understand what he knows. I need to understand it. So I started listening to this as I would drive around town, as I would go on wrestling tournaments, I'd be listening to Mark. And it was so cool because I was hearing all these war stories, what they had done. I remember listening to interview with him and Joe Vitale when they invented the first ebook, when Mark came to Joe and said, I want to take your book and turn it into an ebook. And Joe's like, no one's going to buy an ebook. He's like, no, it's going to happen. And he launches this ebook, makes a ton of money before Amazon even figured it out, right? Telling stories about how they did viral marketing, how he launched a website that started growing virally, that got up to one of the top highest visited websites in the world in a very short window of time. I learned thing after thing. He was talking about sales funnels before we even called them sales funnels. Before anyone had ever seen it or thought about it, Mark was doing it. I remember I was sitting there, driving these wrestling tournaments, listening to him on these CDs over and over and over again, and it really became the foundation for my knowledge. I think today a lot of people see what we do with ClickFunnels and they're like, wow, Russell figured out funnels, Russell figured out these things, and the honest truth of it is Mark figured it out a decade before I ever did.
Like Russell said, for whatever reason, I've always been ahead of my time. And I invented and pioneered many of the strategies, tactics, and technology that are being used on the internet today. I started the first ebook publishing company 10 years before Amazon launched the Kindle. I invented the ad tracking pixel when Mark Zuckerberg was still in elementary school. and started my own pay-per-click search engine while the Google founders were still in college. That's probably why so many people call me the father of digital marketing, because I have a 30-year track record of predicting and creating the future. And we're going to be talking about creating your future today. That is how I discovered the most profitable secret in history. One of the ways I stay ahead of the trends in the marketplace and innovate new technology faster than most is I study all the time. I've dedicated the last 3 decades of my life to studying and analyzing the most successful businesses and wealthiest individuals in history. And I started seeing a pattern and a trend that for whatever reason, everyone else seems to have missed. I saw this secret popping up over and over, but it didn't even have a name. Yet it seemed to be responsible for the success of the biggest companies and greatest wealth creation in history. Could the most profitable concept of all time really not have a name? Had nobody else ever noticed this pattern, distilled it into a repeatable, teachable system? I decided to research this phenomenon all the way back to ancient history to verify what I was seeing was true. And there it was, staring at me, right in the pages of the Bible itself. The wealthiest man who ever lived, King Solomon, used this exact same secret to amass the greatest fortune ever known. His net worth is estimated by scholars to have been the equivalent of over $4 trillion. 2 trillion of that was liquid net worth held in pure gold. Now let's put that in perspective. If you look at the world's rich list right now, it's measured in tens of billions. He was worth $4 trillion. I'll tell you King Solomon's story and his secret in just a minute. But first, let's talk about Bill Gates. This is a scene from a film about the founding of Microsoft. How did these guys go from a bunch of broke kids in a college dorm room to become the founders of one of the greatest empires in the history of mankind? You're not only about to learn how they did it, but how they did it on a $0 ad budget. King Solomon and Bill Gates both used the single most profitable secret in history to become two of the wealthiest people in history. And you're not going to learn this secret anywhere else. But first, I need to tell you guys a little story. It is called the parable of tea. If you have already heard this, then you know it's even more important for you to pay attention to this story right now. The parable of tea goes like this. There was once a Zen scholar who traveled from the United States to Japan to meet a man who was known as the greatest Zen master alive. Now, the Zen scholar had studied every book about Zen. He knew all of the dates. He knew all of the figures. He knew all of the techniques. He knew all of the details. And when he arrived at the Zen master's house, the Zen master greeted him and politely invited him to sit down for tea. And the Zen master said, "So, I understand you are the greatest Zen scholar alive. Please tell me what you know about Zen." And the Zen master started pouring his tea. And as he was pouring his tea, the Zen scholar was, expounding upon all of his great knowledge about Zen, showing off all of the wisdom that he believed that he had acquired over his study of Zen, showing, the subtlety of understanding that he had. And the Zen master was nodding and saying, oh, yes, very impressive. You're very knowledgeable. You're very knowledgeable. And as the Zen scholar kept talking, the Zen master kept pouring the tea very slowly up until the point where the tea started overflowing in the cup. And the Zen scholar kind of freaked out. He said, "Master," says, "my cup is already full." Zen master very slowly put the teapot down, folded his hands in his lap, and he said, "Yes, Your cup is full. You have no room left for me to pour in anything else. For me to teach you, you must empty your cup. And that is what I ask of you today, is to empty your cup, because what I'm about to show you is very different from what most people are going to show you. It flies in the face of a lot of the traditional wisdom that frankly does not work about how to become successful in business and in life. So I need you to empty your cup, because if your cup is already full, if you're here thinking you know it all already, there's no room for me to pour in new wisdom. Now let's talk about one other story before we carry on, a very important thing. Who is the guy that Bruce Lee fears? Some of you guys know this. This is a scene from one of Bruce Lee's great movies. He's there fighting the giant Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this film. And Bruce Lee famously says, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Now, I'm going to be teaching you a handful of things you need to master. This is why in Simpleology, we have you repeat the same habits over and over and over again. All right? I'm not going to teach you too many things today, because you don't need to know too many things. You need to know a few things, especially the most profitable secret in history, and you need to master that. So we'll say that one more time. What does Bruce Lee say about this? He says, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." That is the kind of person I want to turn you into. And that takes us to secret number one: stealth tactics for turning adversity into profit. But first, do you want another free gift?
He had this manuscript back in the day called the Confidential Internet Marketing Intelligent Manuscript. That was basically all the split tests that he had figured out that worked. I remember I would read that thing like it was the Bible. And Mark said, "Okay, you need to have a checkbox on your order form that's that's not pre-checked." And I was like, "Okay, that's everyone on our forums has to have that." He said, "I tested this headline color, I tested this," and everything he said, I modeled it to a T, because Mark had proven those things had worked. And all of our early funnels looked almost identical to what he was doing, because we knew it worked.
Who wants a free copy of the Confidential Internet Intelligence Manuscript Russell Brunson just mentioned? I want you guys to type yes in the Talk to Mark box if you want a free copy of that. And by the way, I don't even sell that anymore. It is not available. You might find copies of it at a very high price being sold around here and there, but I'm going to give you guys a copy of that for free. If you want a free copy, I want to say, okay, I see yeses coming in. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Hiram. Thank you, George. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Marla. Thank you, Ken. I see the yeses flooding in. Okay, everyone is paying attention. This is good. This is what jazzes me, guys. People who are paying attention are the people who are going to survive. Attention equals retention, and retention equals action, and action takers are the ones who are going to survive and thrive these coming days ahead. So when you stay until the end of this presentation, it's yours free. Now it says $197 value. I don't know what people are selling it for. I've seen copies of it go for even a lot more than that, but you're going to get it absolutely free, but only when you stay until the end of this presentation. Now, my recent, I say report, it's actually a 372-page book, scared the crap out of a lot of people. Now, I released this in electronic format several weeks ago. This was before the coronavirus scare really started going crazy as it has, especially in this last week. And I talked about stuff that is even more terrifying than the coronavirus. We are entering a period in history that I call the transition tribulation. And there were some people who, when they first read it a few weeks ago, when we first released it, they were saying, wow, this is a whole bunch of, alarmism. And now what they see what's going on with the coronavirus, they were like, well, damn, I apologize. You were right. You are seeing the very beginning of what I call the transition tribulation occur right now before your very eyes. And what we are experiencing right now with this panic over the pandemic is nothing compared to the threats we are about to face. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this to wake you up, to let you know that it is time to take action. But as you'll discover in just a minute, there is hope and a ton of opportunity. In fact, I predict those who really understand what I'm about to share with you are about to participate in the greatest opportunity in human history for the average person to create real and lasting wealth. However, up until now, you may have been struggling to break through to the next level. You know you have what it takes to make it, and perhaps you've even had some moderate success. Perhaps you keep telling yourself or your spouse or your kids or your friends, we're so close. Things are about to come together and really start working just a little bit longer and everything is going to pay off. Well, guess what? It's not your fault. Okay. I know a lot of marketers out there say that, and in most cases, I have to level with you. It's bullshit. Pardon my language. You can take the boy out of the army. You can't take the army out of the boy. I'm a blunt and direct guy sometimes, but this is blunt and direct time. If ever there was a time in history to be blunt and direct, it is right now. Lack of results in most areas of your life actually is your fault. I hate to tell it to you. Nobody else is going to give it to you straight like that. And if you're here to get, sugary lies and sugar-coated nonsense, you're in the wrong place. All right? Lack of results in most areas of your life is actually your fault. But in this particular case, it actually is not your fault. If you've been struggling to take your business to the next level, here's why. If you read my recent publication, Your Roadmap to Money in 2020, then you already know what is going on and what's about to happen. And I say what's about to happen, well, it's happening right now. Ad disapprovals, full ad account shutdowns and lifetime bans, social media post shadow banning and censorship, search engine algorithm changes. All of a sudden, you can't seem to get your paid ads to work. All the content you work so hard to produce, just not getting the traction or eyeballs it used to because they force you to pay to play now. Or perhaps you don't even know where to start. You just can't seem to get your marketing to work. Or when you do get an offer that works at small scale, when you try and ramp up your ad spend, things come off the rails and your profitability vanishes. Here's a little secret. There's actually a reason for that, particularly at Facebook. The AI, the artificial intelligence behind the ads is programmed intentionally to give you the best eyeballs when you have a new ad and small spend to make you think it's performing. So you ramp up the spend and then they start sending you less targeted views and clicks. That is a fact. It is observable. Also, there's so much outdated, conflicting, and just plain wrong advice being given about how to grow your business online. You're told by quote unquote gurus to create tons of content, do SEO, do blogging, podcasting, grow your YouTube channel, guest blog, post to Insta, do Instagram stories all day, post to Pinterest, use Snapchat, do Facebook Lives, cold contact on LinkedIn, start Facebook groups, post to Twitter 10 times every day, build your email list, email them daily, post to TikTok, whatever the hell that is, and do 1,001 other things. Or perhaps you've been scammed over and over. You bought course after course, hired quote unquote coaches who don't deliver on their promises and then blame you when their quote unquote advice doesn't work. You went to masterminds, events, and seminars that were just pitch fests. You're wasting so much time, energy, and money trying to make things work, and you don't know who to listen to. It's overwhelming. I get it. And if I were in your situation right now, if I didn't have 30 years under my belt, I would be overwhelmed too. I would be confused too. But there is hope. I'll give you the solution in just a minute. But first, you ever feel like the deck is stacked against you or the game is rigged? Like some people have a secret edge or inside connections that give them an unfair advantage? Well, you're right. Now, what I'm about to show you guys, some of you guys are going to say, oh no, Mark's going full Alex Jones on us. He's turning into a raving, crazy conspiracy theorist. That's not what this is about, guys. Anything I show you, I have backed up with documentation. These are things that you can learn about and study and verify on your own. I'm about to show you a next slide, and some of you guys you're gonna get that, oh no, it's Alex Jones reaction. But again, I invite you to verify this. I'm about to give you one example of a much larger phenomenon happening all over the world. Have you ever heard of something called the Skull and Bones Society? It is a real thing. It is a secret society at Yale. You can go there and visit the building. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually widely documented and known to exist. Again, you can go visit their building, clearly labeled at Yale. The sole purpose of this group is to give members a shortcut and backdoor into positions of power and wealth, and support members with advantages and opportunities denied to average people. They are the gatekeepers of the upper echelons of power, wealth, and privilege. Right or wrong, this has been the way society has worked for thousands of years. A few nobles or royals lived lives of power, privilege, and luxury, while the vast majority of the world population historically lived in abject poverty and squalor. And let me tell you, as a young man who was raised in abject poverty and squalor, I take particular offense to this kind of thing. And in fact, I make it my job to fight against this kind of stuff. Now, let me tell you guys just a little bit of information that you can verify here. I'm going to tell you some of the members of the Skull and Bones Society. President William Howard Taft, President George W. Bush, John F. Kerry. Remember when George W. Bush was having a battle with John F. Kerry for who was going to be president? It was one bonesman versus another. The great William F. Buckley Jr. was a bonesman. George Herbert Walker Bush, George W. Bush's father, also a former president, was also a bonesman. And most founding members of the CIA were all members of the Skull and Bones Society. And again, guys, this is one example of many such groups all over the world that collaborate secretly to give each other advantages. This is not crazy, wacky conspiracy theory stuff. This is all totally documented, verifiable information. But there's hope. I'll tell you in a minute about another secret society quietly building networks, doing deals, and challenging the old world systems. So, how do you turn adversity into profit? During the Great Depression, some of the biggest fortunes in history were made, mostly by people who accidentally used the single most profitable secret in history I'm going to share with you here shortly. In fact, before I even discovered it or gave it a name, I used it myself during and after the 2008 meltdown, while most other marketers and business owners were having everything fall apart. In my own businesses, those years were some of the best years of growth I ever experienced, all because I was applying the secret I'm about to share with you. In one of my core programs, Simpleology 203, The Simple Science of Invincibility, I go into these concepts in depth. However, just one of the core mindset shifts I want to make to turn adversity into profit is, in every adversity or setback you experience in life, there is always a massive seed of opportunity. Here's why, and this isn't some hoofy poofy mindset stuff. It is actually very, very practical. Listen carefully. When anything bad happens to you, or when you have any problem, you are not alone. If you have had this struggle, problem, or issue, I can guarantee other people are fighting the exact same battle. So what you want to do is see these challenges as opportunities to create a solution that the market will buy. When you solve the problem or find the solution, other people will gladly pay you to help them do the same. Some of my most profitable products and biggest companies have come out of my own need to find or create solutions to issues I was having myself. That's how Simpleology came to life. I tried every productivity and time management method under the sun. I tried Franklin Covey planners. I tried to-do lists, which, by the way, are the single most toxic way to manage your life possible. Why? Because on the same list, you've got take out the trash and solve world peace, and you never complete your to-do list. It's demoralizing. It's a really, really bad idea. You name it, I tried it, and none of them worked for me, or they were so complicated, I couldn't stick with them. I wanted something far more practical and simple that I could actually stick with, and Simpleology was the perfect solution to my own productivity problem. I built it first for myself, and now 1 million users later, and again, 1 million users was 10 years ago's number. Because I'm a private company, I don't have to disclose what the real numbers are, but I'll just leave that to your imagination. That adversity has turned into a profitable solution that is changing lives every single day, which brings us to another adversity-based solution. Secret number 2, your 3 essential hedges against the impending digital marketing meltdown of 2020. And really, we're not just talking about the impending digital marketing meltdown of 2020. We are talking about a global meltdown of mass proportion that makes coronavirus look like a Sunday walk in the park. Hedge number 1, the only assets that matter are skills, knowledge, and health. Think about this, guys. The government can take away your assets at any moment through the power of something called eminent domain. That's what we call it in the United States. All right. I can guarantee that you have the exact same law in your country. Governments have the ability to seize your assets at any moment if they declare this law. Your investments could be devalued overnight by a market correction. I'm sure many of the folks listening have actually witnessed that. Many people that I talk to on a day-to-day basis talk to me about their life savings, their retirement funds being wiped out by market corrections. Even all your hard money in the bank could be rendered worthless overnight if your country experiences hyperinflation or a revolution. And by the way, anybody who lived through the Cuban Revolution or was a billionaire in US dollars in Iraqi dinar, the very next day, they were worth $0 because their currency was rendered worthless. So money in the bank is not your best hedge. Or a global pandemic like coronavirus could create chaos and disruption you have no direct control over. That's why focusing on your health and building a bulletproof immune system is so important. More on that in a second. One other thing that can never be taken from you is this skill set you practice and master. A few of the most valuable skills you can acquire in this post-2020 age are marketing, If you are not good at marketing right now, you need to get really good at marketing right away. If you tell yourself, well, I can just hire somebody to do it for me, that's not the right answer right now. You need to become good at it yourself. The great Dan Kennedy said there are two things I will never delegate in my business. That's my marketing and my accounting. You also need to become good at sales and persuasion. That is a must. It is non-negotiable. You need to get good at networking. You need to get good at charisma. And by the way, if you think charisma is something natural, I'm going to show you in a minute here that that's just not so. It's actually a learnable skill. You need to get good at communication and writing. And by the way, if you think that that's not possible, I'm going to show you some shortcuts on that as well. Everybody has the ability to get good at all of these things. In the back of your mind, you might be thinking, well, I'm not good at any of these things at all. Don't worry. These are all learnable, and they are far more learnable than you realize yet. You need to get great at team building, and you need to get great at leadership. Now, some people think leaders are born, not made. It is not true, because you are right now watching and listening to a man who was definitely not a natural born leader. It took honing of my skills to become the man I am today, and I will show you simplified ways to master that. Also, another critical skill to master is shifting your mindset to embrace hard things. Former Navy SEAL and ultra marathon athlete David Goggins says, if you choose to do something, attack it. Something else he said, I hated jumping out of airplanes. I hated shooting guns. I hated the job as a Navy SEAL, but I did it because I wanted to change myself. Everything you do, I'm not really comfortable doing. But if you choose to go that route, to be a Navy SEAL, you might as well go be the hardest mother effer in the world. All right? That is the attitude you need to take. And I know that is totally contrary to what most people are being taught right now. We're taught to be soft. We're taught to run away, to crawl into our safe spaces when things get hard. Well, guess what? That's not the right answer. It's not going to work. No one's going to come save you. If you change your mind in this way to embrace hard things, you can get through harder and harder things. Another critical skill is what I call the deviously simple mindset trick you can use to overcome every single barrier we will face along the way. And the key to that starts with a question I have for you. Do you believe the universe is infinite? Just type yes or no into the Talk to Mark box. Just type yes or no in the Talk to Mark box. Do you believe that the universe is infinite? Remember, guys, that require participation. All right, Eleanor says yes. Okay, Peter says yes. Brian says yes. Jim says yes. We got Rocky saying yes. We got Lot. Greg says yes. Rainier says yes. Jason says yes. Val, James. All right. Okay, it seems like almost everybody seems to say yes. Well, let's see what the scientists have to say about that. No matter how far we look out into the universe or how deeply we look down into matter itself, we discover more and more layers of complexity. Leading quantum physicists are even saying there is not just one universe, there are actually multiple, perhaps even infinite universes. This is actually a real thing in the quantum physics world. They call it the multiverse theory. So if you find yourself in an impossible situation, in reality, you're just confused about how reality actually works. See, if the universe is infinite, then every problem is solvable. Think about that. In an infinite universe, there could not exist an unsolvable problem because There would always be a solution to any problem that occurs. Think about that. Really let that sink in, because this is not the way most people are responding. Most people, when they have problems, they say, oh no, I've got an unsolvable problem. I'm going to give up. I'm going to have to crawl back into my safe space. I'm going to go have to ask somebody for help because it's not solvable. It's the absolute wrong way to look at things because it's simply not based in reality. It's a lie we tell ourselves. And when we tell ourselves that lie, that becomes our false reality. I want to ground you in reality as it actually is. Now, let's talk about knowledge. In addition to building your skills, the next thing that can never be taken away from you is your knowledge. As King Solomon himself said, wisdom is more valuable than gold, more precious than rubies. Now, you might ask yourself, what kind of knowledge? Your knowledge set is going to need to be dynamic in this dynamically changing world. Now, to avoid overwhelm in the era of the complexity gap, and if you guys read your roadmap to money in 2020, you know what that is. It's that gap between the ever-increasing volume of knowledge that we're amassing as humans and the amount of information that we can process in our minds. To avoid overwhelm in the era of the complexity gap, you have to choose which topics you stay knowledgeable about wisely. So, focus primarily on perennial knowledge and knowledge related to the basic skills you need to acquire. Also, if your business model requires you to demonstrate expertise, build and maintain knowledge related to that. And most important, be very selective in who you choose to learn and gain knowledge from. And finally, even in the age of the coronavirus scare, if you focus on doing the right things with your health and fitness, you can create a powerful advantage in your immune system, health, and energy levels that can greatly protect you from what is happening. Look at the people who are dying from coronavirus. It is not healthy, robust people. It is the elderly. It is the people who are sick. You need to get your health in order right now. In one of my core programs, Simpleology 103, The Simple Science of Energy, I cover this in great depth. And the reason why we teach and talk about energy so much in Simpleology is because I'm a firm believer that even more important to your productivity than time management is energy management. However, let me take a minute and tell you about the most effective science-based plan for boosting your brain power, your lifespan, and your health. And it all goes back to a brilliant man who was way ahead of his time, and his name was Weston A. Price. He said, life and health in all its fullness is Mother Nature obeyed. Now, Weston A. Price was actually a dentist. He was what I believe to be the man who compiled what is probably, in my estimation, the greatest piece of epidemiological work that has ever been created. All right? Epidemiology is the study of looking at masses of populations. All right? If you want to find out truth about what's going on, you study mass populations and you look for patterns. Now, there's a saying in science, they say correlation is not causation. It's true. However, there's a counter saying to that. While correlation is not causation, it's one heck of a clue. All right? So correlation can show us a tremendous amount of information. It can give us profound clues about what works in health. And what Weston A. Price discovered, he went out to communities where they had a high population of centenarians, people who lived to be over 100 years of age. And he started to find a common thread. What was it that made these people live so long? What he discovered was that it was a focus on naturally raised and grown food that was raised locally and that was not processed. It was cooked in a traditional manner. Now, one profound thing that Weston A. Price did is he took some of these same people who lived in these populations who were robust in their health. He would bring them to America, put them on what they called gringo food, and eating our diet, they would suddenly get sick. So to maximize your health and longevity, get back to nature. I'm about to tell you something that's a little bit controversial. Get plenty of natural sunlight and minimize artificial light, particularly in the evenings. Now, you're going to tell me, Mark, but all my doctors are telling me slather all that sunblock on my body and stay out of the sun because it's going to give me skin cancer. There is actually a new body of evidence that is showing you the exact opposite. All right. And this is something, if you are a geek as I am, who dives deep into the medical journals, you can see this evidence directly with your own eyes. Artificial light at nighttime is causing a lot of health problems for a lot of people, especially the blue band of light at nighttime. You may have heard about this. This is why people wear blue blocker sunglasses. It's why Apple actually put into their computers a nighttime mode. Apple did this because they saw the science. They knew that putting too much blue light in your eyes late at night is disrupting your sleep patterns. It's sending a signal to your mind to stay awake when you should actually be getting ready to go to bed. And getting sleep is important because that's when you recover. All right. So we're finding out also that you need to get natural sunlight on your skin and you need to be getting it throughout the day. So if you're cooped up in an artificial light environment all day, you need to start taking some breaks and getting out into natural light throughout the day. If you can do that every hour, it will be a profoundly helpful thing. I challenge you, try that for a little while. See how much better you feel. I guarantee you're going to feel much better very quickly when you start doing just that one little tiny tweak. Now, morning sunlight is especially important. Why? One thing that we've discovered, there's research that you could look into to show that what I'm telling you right now is all verifiable. This is hard science. We're starting to discover that watching the sunrise triggers the production of melatonin and dopamine in your brain. It's counterintuitive. What's melatonin? It's the sleep hormone. What's dopamine? It's the feel-good hormone, to put it simply. And if you're not watching the sunrise, you have naturally depleted levels of these hormones in your body. So if you start getting morning sunlight, you're going to start to see your whole sleep situation turn around. Take walks in nature or on the beach, particularly barefoot. Sounds crazy or not, I know you're going to think this sounds like some granola eating hippie stuff, but they're starting to find that actually getting direct contact with your body on the real ground is actually helping you improve your health. There's something we're getting by being connected to the ground. And again, this isn't just some woo-woo stuff. This is hard scientific stuff. Also, eat real food. Now, I have a rule for myself. If I don't know what's in it, if I don't know who made it, if I don't know where it was grown, I don't eat it. That's why when I see cans of stuff and I see names of things that I can't even pronounce, chemicals that I don't even know what they are, or if I go into a restaurant and I don't know what they're putting in my food, I'm not going to eat there. I eat real food. That's one of the reasons why at 51 years of age, I am fitter than most teenagers. To extend your lifespan, learn about and focus on your mitochondrial health and repair. How do you do that? There are a couple of really interesting things you can do here. Getting natural light helps with mitochondrial repair. Taking ice baths, believe it or not. Now, I know that sounds like a horrible thing to do. I take a 5-minute ice bath every day, and it's actually not that bad. There are techniques you can learn to improve your ability to tolerate that. For me now, taking a 5-minute ice bath, and I do it at sub-zero temperature, by the way, because I put salt in the water, all right? It's not that hard. It's not hard for me because I trained myself, all right? The next thing I want to show you about here is to focus on the quality of your sleep. When you sleep is when you repair your body. If you're not getting good sleep at night and you're wondering why you feel like crap the next day, well, it should be no mystery. Your body needs that time to repair itself on multiple levels. Now, biohacking is all the rage these days. However, I was a biohacker before there was even a term for it. And the things I've done and experimented with on my own body have transformed my health, fitness, productivity, and cognitive function beyond anything I ever imagined possible. Today, I almost never get sick. My body fat is 8%. My mind is pretty clear and sharp, as you could probably guess from listening to me right now. And I've gone from looking like this to this. Now, this is not just to demonstrate what my body fat levels are, but also to demonstrate what my skill level is like. All right, this is a harder than it looks calisthenics move designed to boost your core strength. I am 51 years of age today, guys. I am sharper, stronger, and healthier than I have ever been. So, having tried everything else, what I am telling you about right now is the stuff that actually works. Now, let's talk about hedge number 2, your lifeboat business. A lifeboat business is a business that is based upon 2 things: culture and systems. Now, why is that important? Because if they can take away all of your assets, if your currency can be devalued overnight, if a pandemic like the coronavirus can change the situation in your business in a heartbeat, and if you read your roadmap to money in 2020, you know that there's all kinds of stuff like this that can change things. In fact, technological shifts can render your product obsolete overnight in this era. All right. So you must have a lifeboat business. But I want you to turn your lifeboat business into an ark. A lifeboat business is great. In fact, it's essential to your own personal survival. However, that is the minimum you need to stay afloat. What you really want to build is an ark that will allow you to save not only yourself, but everyone you love and care about. Because I can guarantee that most of the people in your periphery don't take as much action as you do. They're not action takers like you are. They don't care like you do. They're crawling away into their man caves and their safe spaces. They're running and hiding. They're gonna need your help. Hedge number 3 is big tech marketing independence. And man, is this ever important. YouTube channels that have been dutifully uploading videos for years wake up to discover they have been banned and locked out of their accounts. This happened to a dear friend of mine just a couple months ago. It happens to people. I hear this happening over and over and over again. Facebook ad accounts are shut down on the whim of artificial intelligence and/or low-level content policy enforcers. Merchant accounts are summarily shut down if a bank discovers you're involved in a business practice of which they do not approve. Pages and keywords that have ranked number 1 in Google for years are all of a sudden gone from the search results overnight. This is the reality of what's going on. Everybody's telling you, oh, get rich on the internet. Just start using Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. The reality is that these guys are bullies, okay? These guys are bullies, all right? That's the reality. You need to become independent of these guys. And let me explain to you the economic reason why they are behaving like bullies. Now, there are people out there who hypothesize that there are political motivations and other motivations and all kinds of conspiratorial stuff out there about why Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all these guys behave the way they do. I'm not going to engage in speculation about that. I'm going to show you the economic reality. All right. There was a book written years ago by Chris Anderson, who was the editor of Wired magazine called The Long Tail. And he said that the future of business was selling less of more. And Chris made a great point in that book. If you look at this graph here, you can see that on the left-hand side, you see the top number of sellers, and that's where most of your sales are coming from. Now, traditionally, what most businesses would do is they would focus on their top sellers because that's where most of their money was. And if they had a massive inventory and they were selling onesies and twosies of stuff, well, it didn't make any sense for them to keep that stuff in stock. But when you look at a company like Amazon, Amazon can have an infinite long tail. That's what the graph on the right-hand side, that is the long tail of the graph. It can be almost infinite. So he said, look at Amazon. They have their system set up so that they could sell onesies and twosies of billions of products and still be enormously successful. They don't have to worry about the front side of the graph, what you see on the left side there. And Chris was very right in many respects, but there was a paradox. It's what I call the long tail paradox. And Facebook is the greatest example of this paradox. Let me tell you why. The long tail of the graph is what made Facebook what it is. It's the users like you and me who go out there and just use Facebook on a daily basis. We're the ones who provide the eyeballs for Facebook. But here's why they don't care about you as an advertiser anymore. They care about you as a consumer, but they don't care about you as an advertiser. Why? Because they discovered that the long tail of advertisers, all of the small level advertisers who aren't spending a lot of money on them, are one giant pain in the ass, and that they can make easy money from fewer customers on the left-hand side of the graph. So if you're not spending millions of dollars in ad spend on Facebook, that's why your accounts are being shut down. And this is why you often wonder, hey, I see this big company breaking all of the rules that they just suspended my account for. How are they able to get away with it? Why? Because they're spending a lot more money. Facebook doesn't care about you anymore, at least not as an advertiser. They certainly want you as a consumer, though, because they're making money off your eyeballs, but they don't care about your ad dollars because it's too difficult to manage. That's why artificial intelligence is shutting the accounts down. They don't want to spend the time explaining the rules to you. Many of you have probably seen these messages from Facebook that are rather cryptic. They say, your ad account is shut down because you broke the rules. You ask them, well, what rule did I break? And they say, please read our terms of service. And you say, I read them and I don't know which rule. We're sorry, please read our terms of service. And that's the whole conversation. And I bet half the folks listening right now are probably nodding their heads right now, because when I go into rooms of people and I ask people, how many people have had their ad account shut down? About half the people raise their hands. And then I ask them, I say, if you got a good explanation from Facebook about that, I want you to stand up. Guess how many people stand up? None of them. Okay. Everybody's getting shut down. Nobody's getting a good explanation. So how do you handle the long tail paradox? How do you fight a bunch of bullies? Well, it comes down to the ancient art of what we call asymmetric warfare. And this is a very, very important concept to learn and master in today's day and age. Now, what you see right now is a still image of a fight between Hoist Gracie and Akebono. Hoist Gracie and Akebono. All right. Hoist Gracie is the little guy you see on the right. Hoist Gracie is the guy you see on the right. He's this little guy. And by the way, to give you an idea of how big he is, the guy on the left, he is 6'2", Hoist Gracie. That will let you know exactly how big Akebono is. All right. Who do you think won this fight? It would be natural to assume that the big giant dude won the fight. Well, actually, the little guy on the right is the guy who won the fight. Royce Gracie won the fight. Why? He used a technique called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a form of asymmetric warfare. If you have that skill and your opponent does not, a weak foe can defeat a strong foe. And when we are fighting people like the Silicon Valley Sharks, the big tech giants, we must fight asymmetric warfare. We must fight asymmetric warfare. So I'm going to teach you a few things now about asymmetric warfare. Number one, conversion is king. Conversion is king. Maximizing your conversion rates is what we in the military call a force multiplier. What is your conversion rate? It's the percentage of visitors to your website or your store who buy or take action. 100 people visit your site and 2 buy, you have a 2% conversion rate. Why is conversion rate so important? All other things being equal, whoever has the highest conversion rate can outspend their competition and dominate their market. With a high conversion rate, nearly any traffic source can be profitable. So, how do you improve and maximize conversion rates? If conversion is king, I'd like to introduce you to a man I call the king of conversion. Eric Graham is widely regarded as one of the world's foremost experts in the art and science of conversion rate optimization. I don't call him one of the world's foremost experts. I call him the best expert. This is the guy I go to. Now, Eric says, split testing is one of the most valuable skills any marketer, business owner, or entrepreneur can master. And Eric should know. He's personally ran over 20,000 different split and multivariate tests over the past 25 plus years. He has even broken down conversion rate optimization into an exact, duplicatable, scientific formula. Now, this is Eric speaking on stage in an event where I gave a co-keynote with him last year. The audience was enthralled. I took pages and I went to the back of the room and bought the package he sold from the stage. Now, I want you to listen to this, guys. I'm the guy who invented the tracking pixel. I started doing all this stuff first. I was the first guy to do funnels and all that stuff. Eric does it better than I do. He's the guy I go to learn this stuff from because he has practiced it more than I have. Again, I don't fear the guy who has practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the guy who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Eric is the guy who has been practicing conversion rate optimization 10,000 times plus that actually over the last 25 plus years. Now, the ultimate conversion transformation formula. This is Eric's proprietary formula, and he has an in-depth 12-week course that he goes into each component of this formula about and more. Now, because he sells that for nearly $3,000, out of respect to him and due to our time constraints, I can't share with you what each letter in this formula means. However, to give you a little hint, the TT stands for testing and tracking. And as you can see, the other two elements in the formula are multiplied by testing and tracking. Like I said, folks, this is a force multiplier. Conversion rate optimization is asymmetric warfare at its finest. And you're leaving so much money on the table if you don't do this. Let's go into secret number 3, guys. We're finally here. How the biggest companies in the world grow massive customer lists without spending a dime on advertising. But first, let's play a mystery game. Why are we going to play a mystery game? We're going to play a mystery game because I need you to be curious. Remember we talked about attention, all right, and how attention works? Part of it is caring. Another part of it is curiosity. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you a number of clues. And I want you guys to start trying to guess what the answer is. Because the answer to this is the single most profitable secret in history. So let's get into clue number one. Fries with that. What do they say at McDonald's when you go in and you order a hamburger? They ask you, would you like fries with that? Would you like fries with that? Why do they do that? They do that because every time you walk in the door, you represent more dollars to them if they sell you more products. There is an axiom in the world of business and marketing, all right? And that axiom is that it costs 10 times as much to acquire a new customer as it does to sell to an existing customer. Now, in McDonald's all over the world, they don't just ask, would you like fries with that? They have been optimizing this for years. Now, if you go in and you order a meal, they ask you, would you like to supersize that? And if you do, they ask you, would you like an apple pie or a sundae? Now, by the way, I wouldn't recommend eating at McDonald's if you want to have good health, but I would recommend modeling their business and marketing practices. That is clue number one of the single most profitable secret in history. And if you think you know what the single most profitable secret in history is yet, you probably don't. All right. You might be thinking, oh, he's just talking about upselling and downselling, all this stuff. There's a lot more to it than that, guys. That's why we've got to go on to clue number two. Clue number two is Microsoft's big secret. Now, what you see here is another still frame from the film I showed you before, all about the founding of Microsoft. On the right, you see Bill Gates, and you see his two cohorts there. And on the left, you see these big, smug IBM executives. Now, a lot of people tell this story, and I consider this to be the single most important moment in the history of business. And some people agree with that, but for the wrong reason. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what happened here. Bill Gates walked in to the IBM offices because he knew that IBM was going to enter the personal computing business to start competing with Apple. Up to that point, IBM was only selling business machines. That's what IBM stands for, International Business Machines. They said, hey, we see Apple making money in the personal computing business. Let's compete. But we don't have an operating system. Now, Bill Gates knew a guy who had an operating system. He didn't own it himself. He walked into the IBM offices, pretended like he owned the operating system, and cut a deal with IBM. He cut a deal with IBM without even owning it. And then he had to go back after he got the yes from IBM and pay the guy who owned the operating system $50,000 so that he could own the exclusive rights to the operating system. Now, that is why people say that this moment is so important. They say, wow, Bill Gates was so bold. He didn't even own the rights to it. That just shows you how bold you have to be to make it in business. And guess what? It's missing the entire point. What I'm about to share with you makes that point, which is important, very important. My hat's off to Bill Gates, I got to say, for doing what he did there. But it pales in comparison to what I'm about to share with you. The real secret behind that deal was the deal points that Bill Gates made with IBM. He made two very important deal points. He said, okay, we'll sell you our operating system, but we need to maintain the customer relationship. So when they want upgrades to the software, they buy them directly from us. You know what IBM said? They said, sure, no problem. We know all the money's in the hardware. Now, we can laugh about that now, but IBM didn't see the future. They didn't look ahead. Bill Gates was able to see the future. He looked ahead. There was a second deal point he made. He said, we also reserve the right to do this with other outfits, with other companies. And they said, no problem. We're IBM. We're the biggest boy in town. Nobody's ever going to be able to compete with us. All right. That deal was the genesis of one of the greatest fortunes in the history of the world. All right. It was, in fact, over the last 20 or so years, the greatest fortune for the longest time. Outside of King Solomon, it was the greatest fortune that ever was. He has since been eclipsed, but for over 20 years, he was the richest man on the planet. And it all goes down to those two single deal points. I want you to think about that. What happened there? Why was that so powerful? Think. It's a clue. I'm engaging your mind. I've got some guesses coming through here in the Talk to Mark box. I like that. Don's got a great guess. Melanie's got a great guess. Don's got a great guess. All right, we've got some great guesses. Okay, Brian's got some great guesses. All right, we've got lots of really, really good guesses coming in. All right, now let's move on to clue number 3. The one-click upsell. The one-click upsell. Now, this is something I started doing years and years ago, back in the early days of the internet. All right. I had when I started the first ebook publishing company, sometime thereafter, I started the first ad tracking company. And suddenly it struck me. I said, hey, wait a minute. After we sell people ebooks on the thank you page, we're just giving them the ebook. We're not selling them anything. What if I was to put an opportunity for one click to get a free trial of ROI Bot on the back end, on the thank you page? I started doing that and the business exploded overnight. Now, I learned this principle from Joe Sugarman. You're going to learn a little bit more about that in a minute. And there's a whole other level that you can learn from this. Okay, there's a whole other level. I'm going to show you guys something here in a minute where you can take this concept and you can take it to a whole new level that you've probably not even thought of yet. Now, this probably doesn't sound like a big revelation to you. You're like, Mark, everybody does this now. This is just funnels. Everybody does funnels now. Well, back then, we didn't have funnels. My company was the first to start doing it. Now, let me give you the last clue. Clue number 4. King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Now, the Queen of Sheba had mines. The Queen of Sheba had mines. King Solomon had ships. He provided her transportation and protection so that she could distribute and sell her gold. Without that partnership, King Solomon would not have been the richest man in history. And by the way, that was one of many different deals that King Solomon created. We'll talk about this here in a minute. So have you guessed by now what the single most profitable secret in history is? If you haven't guessed it yet, the answer is integration marketing. There's a whole book about it by this guy that you're listening to right now. What is integration marketing? It is the integration of a UMV into an existing IP inside of a T or T stream. What does all that mean? We're going to break it down. Integration marketing. All right, so what is a UMV? It's a unit of marketing value. It can be a brand message, an offer, a sale, a store, anything that adds marketing impact to your business. That is a UMV, a unit of marketing value, a unit of marketing value. What's an IP? It's an integration point, all right? It is a place where you integrate a TT or a TT, all right? So what is a T or a T stream? It's a transaction stream or a traffic stream. A transaction stream or a traffic stream. Now, you might be scratching your head going, what the heck is he talking about? Well, don't worry. We're going to break it down. We're getting there. In fact, we're going to go back to the clues and we're going to break down how each of those was a case of integration marketing. So what is the difference between a transaction stream and a traffic stream? A transaction stream is where a transaction is occurring, where you are exchanging value with a person. A traffic stream is just a place where people happen to be, like a road or a freeway, or maybe a beach where people just happen to be lounging on the beach, anywhere people are congregating, anywhere people are passing by. That is a traffic stream. But a transaction stream is the integration point where a transaction is occurring of any type. So integration marketing is the integration of a unit of marketing value into an integration point, all right, that is either a transaction stream or a traffic stream. So we're going to take a little quiz here. And I'm going to ask you guys, in the case of fries with that, what was the unit of marketing value? Just go ahead and type your answers in the boxes, guys. Now, I'm not going to wait for everybody to type their answers through because we've got about a 10-second delay and I want to keep trucking along. But I want you to type your answers in. I want you to type your guesses. We said fries with that. What was the unit of marketing value in that particular case? All right, I see Hiram got it right out of the gate. Fries. Okay, all right, I see more answers coming in. Ziad. All right, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, a lot of you guys are getting it. Okay, Maria, she gets it. All right, that was the unit of marketing value. What was the integration point? What was the integration point? It was the cash register where they were making the transaction. Was it a traffic stream or a transaction stream? It should be pretty obvious by now. I gave it away to you. It was a transaction stream because there was a transaction occurring in real time. Now, by the way, guys, after I run through this quiz, I'm going to show you guys a short clip that's going to tie all of this together in a way that's going to make you have a huge epiphany, and it's going to show you how someone just like you has been using it to profound effect. Now, when I talked about the ROI bot one-click upsell, ROI bot was the first ad tracking company in the world. When we put that one-click upsell on the thank you page of our ebooks, what was the unit of marketing value? It was ROI bot. What was the integration point? It was the thank you page after they bought the ebook. Was that a traffic or a transaction stream? It was a transaction stream. A transaction stream. Now, Microsoft plus IBM equals the shrewdest business deal of all time. What was the unit of marketing value? Well, it was the operating system that Microsoft was allowing IBM to install onto their machines. What was the integration point? It was the computers themselves. Now, was it a traffic stream or a transaction stream? It was a transaction stream because IBM was already selling the computers. Now, by the way, if you guys are confused, I want you to bear with me. Don't worry. I'm going to show you a clip here in a second that is going to have all of this exploding in your head. It's going to make perfect sense to you. Just stay with me if you're confused. All right. King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Now, what was the unit of marketing value? Well, there are actually about 4 or 5 different ways that this was an integration marketing deal. Let me tell you about one that is actually kind of subtle. This one is interesting. And by the way, I'm giving you guys multiple examples here to broaden your mind about the possibilities of integration marketing, because integration marketing is a set of goggles that you can put on that helps you see money that other people don't see. Once you have these goggles on, you'll realize that you've been walking down the street, walking past $1 million bills. Once you put these goggles on, you're able to see them. Again, this is all going to click. It's all going to come together here in a few moments. All right, so let me tell you about one very subtle way that this was integration marketing. Again, there were about 4 different 5. Well, there were actually 2 units of marketing value here. See, the Queen of Sheba had gold mines, right? And King Solomon provided protection. So there was actually kind of an exchange of units of marketing value going on. Now, he had the ships and the trade routes. So the integration point was the ship moving along the trade routes, and those trade routes were traffic streams. The trade routes were traffic streams. Now, we could get into some deep, subtle conversation about just that deal, but what I want to show you guys right now is a very, very powerful clip. I showed you a tiny little bit of this in the beginning, and when you pay really close attention to this video, everything is going to come together, and you're going to see someone just like us that used this. You're going to see specifically how they did it and how they turned their business around overnight using just one simple way of using integration marketing.
Will you just talk a little bit more about who you are? And I'm interested in finding out what part of business you're really passionate about and interested in.
That's a really good question. Well, I'm not so interested in business per se these days, but in business as a vehicle for other things, because I mean, I believe that money is just a symbolic representation of the transfer of value, you know, and it doesn't have to be that way in society. Society is that way right now because that's the system that we've developed. Before that, we had barter. So I'm more interested in just using business as a vehicle to give people a certain amount of freedom so that they can have an impact on the rest of the world. And that's kind of where I'm thinking these days.
If you were an entrepreneur right now and you had a business and you were doing a few $100,000 or $1 million or $2 million in business, which that's most of the people in this room.
Yeah.
And you were just, you know, really figuring it out. What are some things that you think, and some of these people are actually pretty good internet marketers, but what are some of the things you've learned that they might not know?
Well, one interesting phenomenon that I've tried to teach people over the years, and I say try because some of it has really stuck very, very well, and you'll understand why I say that in a second. And some of it, you know, some of the more advanced stuff, I try to tell people, look, you know, if you really want to take it to that next level, this is what you got to do, but there's a lot of effort involved. So that particular phenomenon or I guess exploit is something I call integration marketing. And there are two levels of it. There's a basic level and an advanced level. And it started out when we were doing ebooks in the early days, back when I remember calling people up saying, hey, you know, can I publish your book as an ebook? And they're like, nobody's going to buy an ebook. I want a book I can hold, right? And look at it now. It's obviously very different. But after the sale of the ebook and after people were opting into newsletters and things, I just sort of, all of a sudden it clicked with me that there was real estate that was sitting there that was underutilized, right? And a good friend of mine, Joe Sugarman, who was the pioneer of the infomercial, I remember him saying something about how when people would call in and order blue blocker, does anybody know the blue blockers? Yeah. And it's just, he's a genius with what he does. And when you call up to buy a pair of blue blockers, you don't walk away with one pair of blue blockers. You got some for your dog, you got some for your grandma. And the idea was, you know, upselling and cross-selling, right? And it sort of tuned me into that. I thought, oh, okay, people are doing this at McDonald's. I saw it everywhere. But then it didn't click with me for a little while, you know, until I was looking at what was going on online, that it wasn't happening online. So I said, okay, look on the thank you page of these ebooks. We'll give people this offer for this service we had called ROI Bot, which was like the first ad tracking company on the net. And we said, look, for free for the first month, you know, because we had their credit card details. It was beautiful. Just click this and you get a free month. And then, you know, you can cancel anytime, but, you know, you can continue on with this. Probably a few people in here might remember those early days. But that was the beginning of something that was really powerful. But now everybody's doing that now, right? Everybody's putting not everybody, but a lot of smart guys are putting upsells on. I noticed you do it. You know, I mean, guys are sort of even trailing cross sells and upsells and downsells and taking that to new levels. If you're not doing that, you're out of your mind because it's just such easy money. But you have to do it in an honest way. Like a lot of guys will do this bait and switch thing. You know, like with a landing page, if somebody comes in and makes a promise, now you guys don't do this at all. You guys are very upfront. You guys promise something and you deliver what's promised. You give the value. But some people say, hey, just give me your name and email address and we'll give you all this stuff. And then you find out on the next page, well, actually, no, we're not going to give it to you. You got to buy this other thing, right? So that's not the way to be doing the upselling. That's a bait and switch, which is kind of a scam, you know? Anyway, that's basic integration marketing. The idea is you're integrating one marketing process into another of your marketing processes, right? Now that's extremely powerful and that will double, triple, quadruple your profit when you start doing that right and you get, you know, the optimization correct.
Do you have any case studies of that, or could you talk to a couple of examples?
Well, the earliest examples, you know, were again on the back end of the ebooks. You know, we had a free offer for the 1 month of ROI Bot, which is amazingly effective, by the way, because you've got a double thing going on there. Not only have you selected for people who are interested in something, but you qualified people as the buyer, and now you're giving them a super low risk deal. And we got it to a point where we had the conversion up to about 50%, like 50% of the people who bought the ebook were doing the free trial, which was, I mean, it's an insane rate. But here's where it got really cool, right? So the advanced thing, and when this idea clicked in my head, I literally could not sleep. Like it was like 2 o'clock in the morning and I was like jittering, man, I got to talk to somebody about this and get this going. And I said, wait a minute. So there were a few people by then doing the ebooks on their own. This is right by around like 97 when it started to pick up and other people were doing it. And I said, well, hey, why don't I find, you know, people selling products that, you know, are of similar interest to the same market and offer this on their thank you pages, because nobody was doing it. And like, when I saw that, I realized, my God, that opens up this insanely cool channel where, I mean, there's really no limit of the partnership you can get. So I went through a hassle trying to explain this to my marketing staff because they just didn't get it. And I had this little shtick down where I'd call them up on the phone. I finally created this thing on the fly where I'd call up a prospect who I was going to offer this to, and I would say, hey, look, how many, you know, orders are you getting a day? And of course they're going to exaggerate, right? Which only works in my favor in that case because it makes it sound better. So they would tell me how many sales, and I'd say, look, we're getting 50% on this. Let's just say conservatively, you guys get 5%. You guys are doing nothing with your thank you page now. And by the way, you can still find these deals. Go buy stuff or opt into stuff and where nothing happens on the thank you page. Like how many percentage of the time do you see that? Like what, 75% where nothing happens? So we would go out and we find these deals, call these guys up, and I would do a little math. I'd have even like a little clickety-clack calculator there, you know, doing the math for them. And I would basically show how at the end of a year, this is how much money we would pull out of thin air for them by doing this, just by adding like a little line of code onto their thank you page and integrating the offer. Now, that single idea, that construct, blew up our business more than anything else. We went from being a pretty successful business, like, I mean, outrageously successful. Now, there are a few guys, actually, there's one guy in the room. Is Telman Knudsen in here? Telman, I taught this to a couple years ago. Telman and his crew.
Hey, Telman.
Telman is a genius marketer over there. He and his crew, and he's got an amazing group of guys that he works with, they're actually taking this to heart now, and they're going out and they're finding these deals. And I don't know if we can get results from Telman on that, but I mean, if you want to hear from Telman how he's doing, but that's been a transformative impact on his business. Is that fair to say?
So just, you want to talk to that for just a sec?
Yeah, the tactic, the principle that Mark's sharing with you guys here. I mean, 3 years ago, I started a business on $50 in my apartment, you know, and we've applied this very, very aggressively. I don't know what, past 2 years more or less. It's our primary marketing tactic, is we go out and we find situations where people are working really hard and they're making a little bit of money, and we find ways so we can help them, you know, double, triple, quadruple how much money they're making. There was one situation where we applied this with Harris Fellman and Merlin Homes from 12-week intensive. They were doing a teleseminar series, and we took a look at their thank you page. We applied this with the Viral Marketing Chemistry Set, which was a product that Mark and I created together. I think we generated something like $80,000 extra in sales in a 13-week period.
Let's focus on the word extra for a second here.
Extra.
Right?
It was a five minutes of work. It was literally 5 minutes of work, and we generated an extra 80 grand. Half of it went to Harris and Merlin. Half of it went to us. And it turned into a pretty good story. So, you know, that was just one example that, you know, a lot of people saw, at least in the internet marketing community. And we've gone on to do this all over the place, not only with our marketing and internet products, but we have all these self-improvement and attention deficit disorder products that we apply it to across the board as well. It's very, very powerful. And the best part is when you call somebody up, it's not hard to convince them to spend 5 or 10 minutes to potentially double or more their sales, depending on how good your system is. And it costs nothing up front. You know, it costs zero up front. and you end up building some really, really great relationships with other businesses. So I have to, take my hat off to Mark for teaching me that. It is incredibly, incredibly powerful. If you just do a little tiny bit of that, 1 or 2 days a week, you can exponentially increase the amount of sales that you're getting. Very, very powerful.
Thanks.
I would like to nominate that idea as the best single new internet marketing tactic that I've heard this year, probably.
Wow.
I got to tell you, I love that story. In fact, I was just talking to Tillman on the phone just last week, as a matter of fact, and I am so proud of what he did. I mean, wouldn't it be great to experience a transformation like that in your life, to be able to go from where he was to what he became? It was just so profound to watch that. Is it starting to make sense now, guys? Is it starting to click? Are you seeing how practical this is? I want to give you one more example of how I use this in the not too distant future. I call it a 10-minute call that netted me $1,000 a week for the last 10 years. So I had a phone call with a podcaster. Now, I'm not going to tell you the name of the podcaster because I don't want you to swoop up my deal, right? He was a pretty popular podcaster at the time. He went on to become one of the most popular podcasters in the world. We set up a deal with him, and it continued to make us over $1,000 a week over the last 10 years. It was an integration marketing deal, just like Tillman was talking about. It was very simple. It took us 10 minutes to set it up. Now, I want to point something out. If you guys think that we're just talking, you're just saying, this is just JV marketing, it's just affiliate marketing. That is a tiny, tiny slice of a much larger picture. Don't confuse integration marketing with affiliate marketing or just JV partners. Integration marketing is so far beyond old school affiliates and JV marketing. It's just one small slice of the full IMS pie. Now, we have 4 different cash cows inside of integration marketing, and every individual cash cow is one very, very large potential slice of, or one enormous school or field of money that you can draw from. And in fact, JVs and affiliate marketing is related to what we call cash cow number 3. It's only one of the 4 cash cows of integration marketing, and it's only one tiny slice of one of the 4 cash cows of integration marketing. So cash cow number 1 is the integration marketing deal broker. No product, no business, no problem. Become an integration marketing deal broker. What does that mean? It just means, Tillman was talking about hiring people to go out there and make those deals for him. He had integration marketing deal brokers on his team. Well, you can also work with integration marketing deal brokers who are not necessarily part of your team. You can be an integration marketing deal broker for other businesses. And there are limitless ways to do this with online business and offline businesses. There are literally limitless types of integration marketing deals you can put together. And if you're just the person who brokers those deals, one deal can be a revenue stream for you for the rest of your life. And the other cool thing is that this is a great bonus as a bolt-on side hustle opportunity to any business or agency, freelancers, coaches, or consultants. All right. It's a great bolt-on business. Now think about that. If you're running a business right now, sometimes you make connections with people and you think, I may not be able to do any business with them, but you still make that connection. If you connect them up with other people where they can be making money together and you get a little tiny slice of that, you've got a nice little side hustle going on there that increases the amount of revenue coming into your business. You don't have to depend just on your own core business when you're an integration marketing deal broker. And in fact, a lot of people are just integration marketing deal brokers. And in fact, if I were to lose everything and start from ground zero, I would go out and I would become an integration marketing deal broker. It's the easiest, simplest thing on the planet to do. Cash cow number 2 is for the traffic stream owner. That's anyone who owns any kind of a traffic stream, a content website, a social media following, a YouTube channel, a billboard, a TV show, anywhere that there are eyeballs available. Now, the traditional way a lot of people do this is that they sell the advertising space. Here's the problem with that. The amount of money you can make by selling advertising space, there's a twofold problem here. One is it's a tiny fraction of how much money you could be making if you were doing integration marketing deals with that same space. And two, you've got the constant effort of having to go out and hustle for new advertisers all the time. And there's actually a third problem, and that's that the person spending money on the advertising, if they're not making money back from that, they're not going to continue paying you. So if instead what you started doing is you started integrating units of marketing value and letting them pay you by performance, you would filter through the people who aren't making money, and you would eventually have relationships with people who are making money, and they're going to want to keep paying you money. Why? Because you're making them money. And the amount of money that they're going to be paying you is going to be a lot more than they would be spending on advertising if you structure the deal right. Now, cash cow number 3, this is for the UMV owner, the person who owns the unit of marketing value. Anyone who owns a UMV of any type and is willing to pay a traffic or transaction stream owner every time a desired result, a sale, a lead, etc., is generated. And by the way, if you sell any kind of a product or service, you are a UMV owner, you should be leaning forward and paying very close attention right now, because this is how Bill Gates became the richest man on the planet, was by using integration marketing owner. He was a UMV owner. He made one of those of all time by finding the perfect transaction stream owner. Now, by the way, think about that, guys. Think about that. Bill Gates didn't have to spend any money on advertising. All right. He went out, he found IBM, who was spending all their money finding all the customers. IBM handed him the customers on a silver platter. So you don't have to go spend all that money on advertising. You can let the person who owns the transaction stream do the heavy lifting for you. Now, here's cash cow opportunity number 4 as the transaction stream owner. And by the way, if you own a unit of marketing value, you are probably also a transaction stream owner. Interesting. Could you be involved in all 4 of these at the same time? Yes. Anyone who conducts any kind of a transaction, online or offline, anywhere in the world, is a transaction stream owner. So now, why would you do this? Why would you integrate the sale of other companies' products into your transaction streams? Why wouldn't you just sell more of your own stuff? Why? Because you're probably leaving a whole lot of money on the table. Think about it. You've got a limited supply of products to sell people, or maybe you have a limited supply of products to sell in a particular niche. Now, if you could do this by tacking on an upsell from another company. You can do it by sending up a follow-up email. You can, pass that person along as a lead to another company. There's so many ways that you can do this. Your existing customer base equals far more money than you realize, and most of us are only tapping into a tiny fraction of that value. Now, let me give you all a metaphor. Table with one leg. If your business is reliant on Facebook, you have a table with one leg. Now, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you one simple question. If you chopped off that leg, what would happen? You wouldn't have a table anymore. you would have a useless hunk of wood. Many people wake up in the morning to find that Facebook has slit the jugular vein of their businesses by shutting their ad accounts down. If your business is solely reliant on Facebook, you are in serious, serious trouble. And this is why it is so critically important that you start doing integration marketing. What I want you to build is a table with 1,000 legs. A table with 1,000 legs. If you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a table with one leg. It's a pretty precarious situation, no matter how strong that single leg is. If you look in the lower left, you see a table with 4 legs. It's a lot more stable. But if you look in the lower right, you'll see that if you cut off just one of those legs, this table starts to get a little bit shaky. That table can't hold even a bowl of rice anymore. But if you have a table with 1,000 legs, like you see in the upper left, you could lop off 100 of those legs, and the table is still standing strong. Now, here's what I want you to get. King Solomon had multiple integration marketing partners. In addition to his biblically famous gold trade agreement with the Queen of Sheba, he had dozens of other similar deals and trade routes coming out of Edom, Arabia, Africa, Judea, and even as far away as India. He constructed an elaborate and profitable web of integration marketing alliances. Solomon built hundreds of merchant ships manned by both Israelite and Phoenician sailors. How far did those fleets travel to amass such wealth? We don't know, but the scriptures tell us the sailors sometimes required 3 years to make a round-trip voyage because the distance was so great. The wealth accumulated by this maritime traffic is astounding even by modern standards, especially by modern standards. When you look at 4 trillion versus the however many, 20 to 30, 40 trillion, the richest guys in the world are worth right now. I'm not sure why you showed up today. Perhaps you read your roadmap to money in 2020 and it scared the hell out of you. Perhaps it may be because you're fed up with big tech censoring, blocking, or shutting down your ads and content. It may be because you want to start finally getting your business and marketing to actually work. Or perhaps you're just overwhelmed by everything you think you have to do to grow your business and want a better way to have more time, money, and freedom. Whatever your reason for showing up, remember, this is not just theory. This is exactly what I did to grow my own business empires. And as I've proven and shown you, this is exactly what every wealthy person or successful company in history, from King Solomon to Bill Gates, has done. So let me ask you an important question. Are you just going to think to yourself, wow, Mark just shared some amazing and valuable information, or are you going to take action? Type action in the Talk to Mark box if you're an action taker and are willing to actually do what I'm recommending. And this one I'm going to pause for, folks. I know there's a 10-second delay here, but I want every single person in here writing in the word action. All right? It's so essential that you take action on this. If all you do is listen, nothing is going to happen. You have to take action. I want to see everybody in here typing action. Okay, awesome. We've got Brian, action. Joan, action. Victoria, action. Dawn, action. Glenn, action. Joyce, action. Jack, action. Eric, Jack, action. Rajinder, action. James, action. Everybody. All right. All right. Okay. Deborah, action. All right. Wow. Claire, action. Farhan, Calhoun. We got people from all over the world here. We have got a room full of action takers. Yes. This is what I want, guys. This is what I want. I want to be in a room full of action takers because that's how the world's going to change. And I need to tell you about my mission. All right. And if I get a little fired up about this, I want you to understand why. It's because I've got so much passion about this. As a guy who came from struggle in his early years and understands what it's like to be flat broke, to be raised in a family that doesn't have any money, that's eating government cheese on top of a 25-cent pot pie and ramen noodles to survive, and those were good days, to go to where I am now. I don't want to see people living through that. I see what's happening in the world right now as an injustice. I want to unshackle you from the bonds. I want you to not only be financially free, but to not have to depend on anyone. That is my mission. However, a few hours together is just too short. I can't cover 30 plus years of business growth and marketing experience in just a few hours. However, it's my hope and prayer that I've at least opened your mind to what is possible, particularly when you take action and begin down this path to ascension. When you commit now to not just building a lifeboat business to stay afloat, but creating an entire arc to not just save you, but everyone you care about. Remember, at the beginning of this masterclass, I made you two promises. Number one, I promise that if you pay attention and take action, this information can transform your business and your life. Do you see how that is possible now? Did I deliver value and keep my promise to you? Type yes in the Talk to Mark box if you learned something of value. And I'm going to take a moment here and pause to see this. I want to see that response from you. Okay, Eugene, yes. Hiram, yes. Yad, Deborah, yes. Glenn, yes. Joan, yes. Michael, yes. How do I even pronounce this? Stanislaw, Khaldun. We've got people from all over. Brian, Walter, yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for the kind words, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Now, remember, I also promised you that if you stayed to the end, not only would you get the slides from this presentation, my rare confidential internet intelligence manuscript, and an Ask Me Anything Q&A session we're going to get to here shortly, but I also promised and asked your permission to tell you about a way to implement everything we just talked about into your business faster and easier. Well, by now, it should be pretty obvious. It's very important to me. I always keep my promises. So to keep my promise, I've created something special just for you because you're still here. One of my core beliefs in life is working with and rewarding action takers just like you. So because you, masterclass, showed up for this masterclass and are still with me watching this masterclass, you now know the single most profitable secret in history. So let me reward you by taking you personally by the hand to help you implement this secret into your business. Introducing the Solomon's Arc Ascension Plan, the most comprehensive business growth and wealth protection system ever assembled. And when I say comprehensive, trust me, I mean it. Bear with me here and pay attention, because you're about to get $1 million marketing education. When you watch every step of how I craft and explain this offer, you may want to take some notes on this. Now, by the way, when I say this is comprehensive, I want to pre-pen this with something here. All right. You're going to look at all this stuff and you're going to go, oh my, this is too much. It's overwhelming. It's not what this is. This is not about overwhelm. This is an ascension plan. An ascension plan. I'm taking you step by step by step through a very deliberately crafted and constantly improving process. All right. I don't care where you are in your business right now. I don't care if you are a just brand newbie or somebody who's been doing business for 20 years. I'm going to take you from square one and build the correct foundation with you. And then I'm going to take you on to the next step. Remember, we said Bruce Lee fears the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. I'm going to have you master the groundwork. And then I'm going to have you move on to the next step. And then I'm going to have you move on to the next step. And that is why we call it the Solomon's Ark Ascension Plan. Because I don't want you to just survive like Noah did. He made a lot of people survive. I want you to survive and prosper. This is not Noah's Ark. This is Solomon's Ark. And it's an ascension plan, a step-by-step ascension plan. Now, the first component you're going to get is the Integration Marketing Masterclass. Now, this is an 8-week intensive. Week number 1, we do a deep dive into cash cow opportunity number 1. It's all about the integration marketing deal broker. Remember, no product, no traffic, no experience, no problem. We take a deep dive in how to do that. Week number 2, we get into cash cow opportunity number 2, the traffic stream owner, how to turn your traffic assets into cash. Week 3, we get into cash cow opportunity number 3, the UMV owner. This is all about market domination on a $0 ad budget. I don't want you to give another dime to those guys. Week number 4, cash cow opportunity number 4, transaction stream owner, extra dollars from thin air in your existing business. Week 5, this is a live launch kimono lift part 1. Okay, I show you guys behind the scenes exactly what I did when I launched one of my products, warts and all. You get to see everything that happened. And in part 1, I'm going to show you rapid product creation secrets. You get a behind the scenes look at a live launch that I'm running in real time. And these rapid product creation secrets are going to show you how you can pull products out of thin air far faster than you may realize. It is so much easier than you think. And it's not about knocking off and copying other people's stuff. I'm going to show you how to instantly create brand new original stuff of great value. Week 6, we're going to do a live launch kimono lift part 2. That's live launch week number 1. You get to watch the first steps in my own launch, warts and all. I'm going to show you some pretty ugly mistakes I made, all right? And then in week 7, you get part 3. This is live launch week number 2. And this week, you see how I pivoted in the second week of my live launch and why. I show you the big mistake that I made and why I pivoted and how I turned crisis into opportunity. Week 8, live launch kimono lift number 4, the perfect product rollout template. This is a template that I follow to ensure you squeeze every last potential dollar out of product rollouts. The value for this alone is $2,997. And by the way, I haven't even covered what is actually in the Integration Marketing Masterclass. I'm going to tell you just one side note about this. I took 3 guys who have 0 business experience and taught them from beginning to end how to implement integration marketing in their business. So in the first week, I had this guy imagine that he had a product, and I showed him how to go out and find integration marketing partners. All right. I showed him exactly how he would start a relationship with those people, exactly how he would create deals with those people. And I did it so simply and easily that a guy with 0 business experience could understand it, because I wanted to make it easy enough for a 12-year-old kid to follow the instructions. And I have now templates and process maps. There's recordings of the conversations. You get the whole thing. And that's just what we call Integration Marketing Mastery Level 1. It goes into levels 2 and 3, where you get deeper and deeper into that stuff. Now, the next component you get is you get Integration Marketing Society lifetime membership. This is your new secret society. It's a secret society that I invented, not so the rich can get richer, but so folks like us can band together and create a better world and build the 3 hedges for ourselves together to create prosperity for the average person. Part of that is what we have inside called the Integration Marketing Society Deal Room. You get to make integration marketing deals right there in the deal room. Now, I want to tell you, I want to warn you ahead of time. It's early days in Integration Marketing Society right now. We're just about to break 100 members. It's about to start growing really fast, okay? So right now, you're not going to be making as many deals inside the deal room as you will in the future, because as Integration Marketing Society grows into the thousands and tens of thousands and probably hundreds of thousands, that's how big this is going to be. We're starting that push to make that happen right now. And in fact, over the coming weeks, you might see it grow by another 100 or so. And just in the next week itself, you're going to see it growing very, very fast here. The number of deals that you're going to be able to make is going to increase week after week after week. All right. Now, I'm gonna be really frank with you. I don't want you to rely on the deal room to do integration marketing. You need to be out there in the real world doing integration marketing all day long. Part of Integration Marketing Society is something I call the day-to-day battle plan, where you're going out there, reaching out into the world and making deals happen. This is all about taking action that moves the cash needle. Every single thing I tell you to do is designed to move the cash needle. I don't tell you to go out there and waste your time on stuff that doesn't work. I tell you practical things to do right now that will put money in your bank account. That's what I focus on. I'm wasting your time if I have you doing anything else than that. Another thing you get inside Integration Marketing Society is you get the benefit of Integration Marketing Society's social media post boosts. You know, I'm not telling you just to completely get off all these platforms. While they still let you use them, go ahead and use them. Just don't rely on them. But something we can do together inside Integration Marketing Society is if you make a social media post, you can ask the society members to go in there and give you likes, comments, and shares. So all of your social gets a big boost. That's one benefit of being a member of this secret society. You also get access to the Integration Marketing Society Developer Network. Have you ever had trouble finding a software developer who can do a good job at a fair price, competently, on time? I can almost guarantee if you've tried to get any software built at all, you've experienced multiple horror stories. The Integration Marketing Society Developer Network is a group of developers that I have worked with for decades, that I trust with my life. I trust these guys with my business. You get access to them, and I have told them that they need to be ready to expand so that their teams can support you. These are people who not only understand integration marketing, they do software development properly, on time, reliably, at a fair and reasonable price. You're also going to get Integration Marketing Society weekly calls. Every week, I get on live on video and answer questions for Integration Marketing Society members. Sometimes I bring in experts from around the world, people who are subject matter experts, to share information about what's working now. Sometimes I bring in members like you and do live business breakdowns where I build an integration marketing growth plan for your business, and I show you how to get your business off the ground. I can do that for you. The value of this right now is $5,000 per year. All right. Plus future annual price of Integration Marketing Society times however many years you live. It's $5,000 only right now, so we can boost the membership numbers in early days. Once we have 10,000 people in there, it's going to cost a lot more because it's going to be a lot more valuable. If you are a member of the Solomon's Arc Ascension Plan, you get lifetime membership. Now, I want to quote King Solomon here from Proverbs 15:22. In a multitude of wise counselors, victory is assured. And when you are a member of Integration Marketing Society, you are in a multitude of wise counselors, because I have hand selected some of the best and brightest people in the business world who are already members of Integration Marketing Society, and you get to rub elbows with them. Let me give you a little quote here from John Assaraf. You guys may remember him from The Secret. Here's something John says about me. He says, Mark is a walking encyclopedia of practical, creative, and usable here's what works materials. This is what being able to rub elbows with the best and brightest gets you in life. You get comments like this. The next component you're going to get is word of mouth transformation kit. This is how to do real viral marketing. This is yet another source of free traffic for your business. $0 ad budget traffic for your business. Word of mouth is the single most powerful force in marketing. It's the single most powerful force in marketing. Think about this. If you were sitting at a family gathering and let's say you've got a bad back and your uncle has a bad back, and then you're both complaining about it. And the next year at that same family gathering, be it Chinese New Year or Thanksgiving or whatever it is, wherever you are around the world, and your uncle suddenly is feeling better, but you've still got a back problem. And you say, Unc, you seem so much better now. What did you do? And he says, well, I rubbed this cream on my back and my back pain went away. Would you have to read an advertisement before rushing out to buy that product? No, you would buy the product on the spot without asking questions. That is the power of word of mouth marketing. All right. This is why word of mouth is better than anything else, because it bypasses all of the buyer's skepticism. You're going to embark on a full year of legal corporate espionage as you spy on the moves of a company that does $10,000 a day in sales without lifting a marketing finger, as I personally guide them to the next level. You're gonna learn every word of mouth move they made under my guidance over the year. Each week, they made specific, simple improvements to their business that you can easily follow along with too. You'll follow along with the exact same guidance and training I've given them word for word. You got to listen in on me giving them the advice. Duplicate what works in your business. This is paint by numbers simple, and it applies to any business on the planet. This is your 52-week step-by-step action plan that will consistently boost the healthy word of mouth your business receives week after week. Now, when I say the value is $1,997, that's what we sell it for every day. If you were to go buy word of mouth transformation today, that is the price you would pay. The real value is much, much higher than that. Now, let me tell you what Chet Holmes had to say about me, the late, great Chet Holmes. Dear friend of mine who passed away recently, missed this guy tremendously. He said, clearly Mark Joyner has done for internet marketing what Jay Abraham did for direct marketing. And I appreciate those kind words and miss that man dearly. I got to tell you, he was a great, great contribution to the business community. I got to tell you, Fire Mission Academy is the next component. Now, what's Fire Mission Academy all about? Same effort, 16 times the profit. It's all about the exponential growth secret. Never wonder again, what should I do next? This is the forever fix for bad business habits. You're going to learn the mathematical formula for obscenely relentless business focus. The stealth psychological triggers that turn stone-faced cold prospects into raving, shut up and take my money fans. The secret to running your business while you have a day job, so you can finally quit if you so choose. It makes your business thrive without you. This is the lifeboat business we were talking about, guys. The hidden human control panel. What's that all about? Inside all of us, we have a hidden control panel. If you know how to lift open that control panel and push the right buttons, you know how to make people buy. It shows you the 7 golden keys your business must have to survive in the next 5 years. I'm going to show you the whales of scale. This is how to scale your business in mass size, how to become an enormous business, not just a small business, but how to become an enormous business. Value, quote unquote, is $1,997. What I should say there is that's what people pay for it every day. The real value is much higher than that. And let me tell you a story about this. I built this system for a very specific purpose. My brother and his wife are both F-18 pilots in the U.S. Navy. They are both F-18 pilots in the U.S. Navy. My brother recently retired so his wife could carry on with her career. She is now an aircraft carrier commander. She was the first female fighter wing commander in the history of the military. He retired so she could carry on. And he came to me and he said, Mark, I want to start a business. And I thought, this is awesome. I get a chance to help my big brother grow his business. But that night I went to sleep and I said, what if I get hit by a bus tomorrow? What's going to happen? I'm not going to be able to show my brother how to grow his business. So what I did, I built Fire Mission Academy as if I had my arm around my brother, carrying him through step by step the habitual framework that he needed to have to grow his business. I needed to know what his day-to-day habit patterns needed to be like. I needed to know all of the knowledge that he needed to have to understand how to grow his business. I needed to show him the most essential knowledge that I have distilled in my 30 plus years down into a program that would work without me, so that he could get his business up to the point where he could let it run without him, so he could spend his time on his family and moving on to other things. That is just a part of the Solomon's Ark Ascension Plan. You're also going to get Juggernaut Academy. You're going to learn how to master what I call the everyman's superpower. If you look in the lower right there, it says inside every man is a great power if he knows how to unleash it. And I am using the gender neutral man there. If you're a woman, I'm talking about you too. I'm talking about man as in mankind. Every human being has this great power inside of them if they know how to unleash it. I'm going to show you how to overcome the single force preventing you from getting anything you want. It boils down to one thing: the mindset trick that allows you to endure the most devastating hardships a human can experience. And I can tell you from experience, having experienced those hardships, I know how to go through them, and not only just get through them, thrive through them. I'm going to show you what I call Edison's secret weapon. I'll just let you think about what that could possibly be. And I'm going to distill this all down to a 60-second ritual that you do every day that activates your everyman superpower, like Clark Kent stepping into a phone booth, and much, much more. And we sell that every day for $197. That is yet another component of the Solomon's Ark Ascension Plan. You're also going to get Charisma Academy. Charisma is a learnable skill, even if you have a face made for radio. Now, if you're not a handsome person, I'm not trying to call you out. All right. I don't believe in all that stuff, by the way. Okay. But if you believe that you got a face made for radio and that that's what's required to be charismatic, I ask you to look at some of the most charismatic people in history. Was Gandhi a handsome man? Okay. Let's be honest about that. I have enormous respect for Gandhi. He was not the most handsome man on the planet. He was perhaps the most charismatic person that ever lived, depending on, there's a number of people we could list. Charisma is a learnable skill. Doesn't matter what you look like. I'm going to show you how Steve Jobs and Bill Clinton developed a quote unquote reality distortion field that built cult-like followings. Now, whatever your feelings are about Steve Jobs or Bill Clinton, one way or the other, that doesn't matter. They had a skill that people call the reality distortion field. It's a learnable skill. This is not about the character of Steve Jobs or Bill Clinton. It's about the skill that they had that is learnable and transferable to you, which you will hopefully use for the powers of good on this planet. How to build your inner charisma so people will fall in love with you at first sight. That's an actual process you can learn. The key to making fearless and unforgettable first impressions every single time. You say there's no second chance to make up for a bad first impression. It's half true, but you do want to get those first impressions nailed. And I'm going to give you a very specific step-by-step process you can follow to make those first impressions right out of the gate absolutely awesome every single time. You're going to learn the trick to never run out of things to say and make every conversation effortless and enchanting. Have you ever been in a conversation and thought, well, this is going pretty well, but I don't know what to say next? Maybe it's a potential romantic partner, a potential business partner, and you're sitting there and you've got those awkward silences. Sometimes those awkward silences kill the rapport. I'm going to show you how to make sure that that never happens to you again. It's very easy, actually. And by the way, everything that I show you is actually pretty simple and easy. I don't believe in bombarding you with information. I believe in showing you the little tiny things that work and helping you master those things one step at a time. I'm going to show you how to turn passing acquaintances into lucrative allies and BFFs. You're going to learn the subtle art of what I call Karis Jitsu that turns enemies into allies. And believe me, you're going to need that in this business battlefield, because as times get tougher, people are going to get tougher. There are going to be enemies out there. You're going to need to know this. Your simple one-page cheat sheet to guarantee every new person you meet is eating out of the palm of your hands within minutes. Now you're starting to see a pattern here. In the last one, I said I gave you a 60-second ritual. Here, I say I'm giving you a one-page cheat sheet. Everything I show you, I like to distill down into very, very simple, easy to understand, very consumable things that are reproducible. We sell this every day for $197. I think the value is much, much higher than that. You're also going to get the 7-day business turnaround kit. The 7-day business turnaround kit gives you 12 tactics you can put into action almost instantly for creating stunning cash windfalls at will. Now you can use incredible paint by numbers turnaround tactics to stockpile months of operating expenses in only a week. The one simple task that tunes your turnaround for maximum Formula One race car speed. And no, it's not cash. That's vital too, but a commonly overlooked step that supercharges your results. How to plug the 3 invisible cash flow holes of every business. Miss one and kiss your turnaround goodbye. By the way, you got to get all 3 of these cash flow holes plugged. Very, very important. How to use 2 types of contests, leveraging little known human psychology that quickly get others doing your selling. The big 3 checklist for long-term business health. Ignore these concepts and you'll be right back where you started after your turnaround. And this includes templates, checklists, spreadsheets, trackers, and much, much more. The value is $2,237. And by the way, folks, if you hire a turnaround expert right now in your business, they're going to charge you somewhere in between $25,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars to turn your business around. You're going to get the same advice that they would be giving you were they to walk into your business. It's just not going to cost you anywhere near that much. Now, here's what Larry Winget had to say about that. He's a New York Times best-selling author of a book called Work for a Living. You may have seen his TV show. He talked about the 7-day business turnaround kit. He said, this is a great course for turning your business around fast. It is simple to understand and simple to implement. That's the problem. It may be so simple you don't do it. Don't make that mistake. This course can save your butt. So if y'all have seen Larry Winget on TV, you know what he has to say just about that single component of the Solomon's Ark Ascension Plan. Now, this next component is something I'm going to ship to your door. And this is something I put a tremendous amount of effort into. It's called the Not So Little Calendar that grows your business. Now, if you've ever seen a little thing that we have called the little calendar that brainwashes you, this is very different from that. This not so little calendar is not so little. Warning, this calendar will make you a card-carrying member of the No Excuses Left Club. Now, you see that icon in the lower right-hand corner there that doesn't actually do justice to the size of this thing. It is 2 volumes that are both pretty massive. However, it is a 1-year day-to-day battle plan, day-to-day, step-by-step, that includes specific actions to build a steady stream of new customers that grows and grows it each and every day. Flawlessly systemize your business so it can one day run without you. build a team of loyal A players who would never dream of working anywhere else, turn your customers into ride or die evangelists so your business grows automatically, surprise and delight your customers so they're eager to pull out their wallets every time you show up in their inbox, craft strategically timed, eye-popping marketing campaigns to turn every week into Black Friday cash windfalls. And this is physically shipped to your door. And there's a whole lot more to this than I can tell you. We're going to continue moving on here. I would love to talk to you for an hour about this. And the people who have this are utterly blown away. There's a video from Joe Vitale here. I don't know. I think I might include it on the next slide where he talks about it, as a matter of fact. I'm getting reactions like that from people all over the world who've been using this. Value of this is $997. That's what if you were to buy it today, that's what you would pay for it. Here's what Dr. Joe Vitale, the star of The Secret, had to say about it when he got it arriving at his door.
Hey, Dr. Joe Vitale here. You know, there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes the information just causes you to do nothing. There's too much of it. But what if somebody took that information and compiled it and organized it and put it into a form that you can use daily? I'm talking about a 2020 calendar. I'm talking about a productivity tool that is full of marketing wisdom, marketing tips, marketing brainstorming, and more. This was put together by Mark Joyner, an internet marketing pioneer, a legend in his own right, a genius in his own right, and a dear friend of mine of some 25 years. He sent me the program. I looked at it and went, Jesus, Mark, Jesus, Buddha, Rasputin, you have created one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, and I wish I had created it.
And before we carry on, I just want to do a little shout out here to Ziad, who wrote in the live comments here. Speaking of the not so little calendar, he says, I've got this and it's absolutely brilliant. I use it daily and it's proven invaluable. Ziad, I am glad you are an action taker who got it and actually started using it. And that is the kind of result I want for every single one of you listening right now. The next component you're going to get is the best seller blueprint. You're going to learn how I write best-selling books in a single day. That's right. Now, this isn't just about gimmicky ways of getting it done, like hiring a ghostwriter or anything like that. The Irresistible Offer, it's a book that is now in universities all over the world. It's in 25 languages. I actually wrote that in one sitting. I'm going to teach you how I did that. I'm going to show you about 4 or 5 other ways to get a book done in a day. If you don't want to sit down and do it the hard way like I did, banging it out on the keyboard, there are a lot of easier ways to get it done. I'm going to show you the bestseller formula. What makes a book a bestseller? It's actually a mathematical formula. I'm going to show you how to deconstruct that and how to reproduce it so you can have a bestseller. And by the way, you want to be a best-selling author. I'm telling you that right now. It changes your whole life. I'm going to show you the best method to get your books published. Whether you go with a publishing house or self-publishing, this is going to show you step-by-step everything you need to know from getting the book written, the easy way or the hard way, all the way to getting it published, self-published or with a publishing house, all the way to turning it into a #1 bestseller. I'm going to show you how to create a launch campaign, get JVs and endorsements, how to maximize the benefits from the launch, and that's money capturing and leads and influence and networking. There's so much more to your book launch than a lot of people understand. It's not just about becoming a #1 best-selling author, which is hugely value in itself. There's a lot of money in your book launch as well when you do it correctly. It represents an enormous amount of money, and most people who become best-selling authors leave all this money on the table, and it's crazy to do that because it's an enormous sum of money you can get. And I'm going to show you the list of booksellers who report to the New York Times. This is something you cannot get anywhere else. I'm going to give you a little secret here. They say that the secret to the New York Times bestseller list is a closely guarded secret. It's not so closely guarded anymore. We did a lot of research, and what we found out was that the way that the New York Times list works was that they only count books from certain booksellers, okay? And guess what? It's not Amazon, all right? There's a very, very certain type of bookseller they're looking for. And let me just give you just a hint as to what you're going to get here. I will tell you it took thousands of hours of calling people to find this information. You will not be able to find this information anywhere else on the planet. So if you want to become a New York Times best-selling author, you have now got the keys to the kingdom. And this also includes interviews with half a dozen other best-selling authors, including the gentleman you just saw, Dr. Joe Vitale from The Secret. And then we sell this every day for $1,997. Here's what you're going to get when you apply now. You're getting Integration Marketing Masterclass, the Integration Marketing Society Lifetime Membership, Word of Mouth Transformation, Fire Mission Academy, Juggernaut Academy, Charisma Academy, 7-Day Business Turnaround, the Not So Little Calendar that grows your business, Bestseller Blueprint, Total Real World Value. And there are people, by the way, possibly on this call, who have spent this much money on all of these products together, $17,616 plus the future annual price of Integration Marketing Society times however many years you live. And in a minute, I'm going to hope that that's many more years than you thought possible, because, but wait, there's more. I can't be a marketer without saying that phrase. You'll also get Simpleology 101, the simple science of getting what you want. I break it down into a simple science. There's a reason why you're getting certain things and not getting certain things. If you follow these very simple principles, and you'll notice that this is a recurring theme in everything I do, it all boils down to simple principles. If you're not getting the things you want in life, there's a reason why. If there's a romantic partner you want, if there's a car that you want, if there's a house you want, if there's a result you want, if there's anything you want, there is a simple science behind getting it. That sells for $197. You get that for free. Simpleology 102, the simple science of money. And by the way, this is why most people don't have money, because they don't understand how money works. It's actually very simple. We break it down into a simple science. You get Simpleology 103, the simple science of energy. By now, you can probably guess that I'm a pretty high energy guy. I think I've demonstrated that to you. I could probably carry on like this for another 12 hours. You're like, Mark, please stop. Not 12 hours. Don't worry. We're getting to Q&A here pretty soon. But I could do that, and I have done that. Why? Because I follow my own advice in Simpleology 103, the simple science of energy. It's actually pretty simple. If you make some simple tweaks in your life, your energy is going to go way, way up. And by the way, when your energy goes up, your money goes up. Simpleology 201, the simple science of leadership. I'm going to tell you right now, there are books you can read about leadership that make leadership very, very complicated. It is not very complicated at all. Leadership is one of the simplest possible things on the planet. I break it down for you. And as a Cold War veteran of the military intelligence community and a former U.S. Army officer and a man who is behind 30 plus startups, I know a thing or two about that. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I understand now it's not as hard as I was making it for myself. When you understand the simple science of it, you don't have to be a natural born leader. You just have to understand the simple science. And it is very, very simple. Simpleology 202, the advanced science of money. Let me tell you right now, the vast majority of what you have been told about investing and protecting your assets and your wealth is absolutely wrong. Many people listening right now are probably palpably aware of that. I can guarantee you there are people who are like, yeah, I listened to this, set of brokers and so-called experts for years, and I was doing okay. And then all of a sudden I woke up the next day to find that my wealth vanished. I'm going to show you the reality of the advanced science of money. This is what real power players with the millionaires and billionaires that I've talked to, when they're sitting in those quiet cigar rooms behind the scenes, sharing the secrets with each other. This is what they really talk about. This is the reality of it. And you're not going to read about this in these mainstream books on investing. Simpleology 203, the simple science of invincibility. It's about having an invincible mindset. So if you've got to deal with haters and naysayers, maybe you got people in your family telling you that they think you should do something else. You got people hating on you on Facebook. or you got people who are getting under your skin. I'm going to show you how to not let any of that bother you ever again. When you have got an invincible mindset, you don't have to worry about that anymore. That's going to be you. You're also going to get the catalog of esoteric psychological lore. Strange name, life-changing information. It is a catalog of 17 wildly effective psychological persuasion principles. It also includes in-depth interviews with 8 of the world's best mind control ninjas. These are people who have made a lifelong study of persuasion and influence. And they tell you precisely their deepest, darkest secrets of what makes people buy and do what they want them to do. By the way, folks, I'm telling you right now, when you learn this information, you need to use this information responsibly, especially in today's day and age. It's very, very important that we use these powers to make the world a better, more stable place. And if you read your roadmap to money in 2020, you'll understand why it's so important that we do that. You're also going to get a video dissection of my famous wife caught cheating letter. That is the letter that I wrote in one night that I used to launch Simpleology. I said, hey, it's probably going to cost me about $50,000 to start this thing. That's actually pretty low in terms of startup costs for a business. And I said, why take that money out of my bank account when I could just write a sales letter and make that money in half a week? Now that letter launched Simpleology. You're going to get a video breakdown of that letter that I did live while sharing the stage with a man's name you're going to hear here in a second. In this rare bonus, the Mark Joyner and Gary Halbert dissect the coat of arms letter recording. All right. Now this is something really powerful. The coat of arms letter is the single most mailed letter in the history of direct mail. There is one other contender. Some people say it was the Two Young Men letter. People argue back and forth whether it was the coat of arms letter or the Two Young Men letter. It doesn't really matter. I don't know if we can know, but we know that they were both mailed out to millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of households. You don't send a letter out to millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of households unless it's really getting you great results. Gary Halbert built a business empire on that one single letter, and this is the only time Gary Halbert ever broke that letter down. He broke it down and revealed what he called the hidden persuaders behind that letter. You are going to get a copy of that recording. Gary has never spoken about that letter to anyone else. And sadly, Gary passed away several years ago. So this is the only source that you have for getting that information to understand how that letter works and so much more. And then we sell that every day for $397. You're also going to get an annual 5-member Simpleology site license. What does that mean? That means that you and 5 other people get access to the full suite of Simpleology tools, Simpleology Elite. If you want to get things done, Simpleology users often report getting done in just 2 hours, what normally takes them a full day or even a week. And by the way, that's not just some marketing smoke. That's not uncommon results. That's the kind of feedback I get every single day from new Simpleology users who actually use it and take action, like you. Skyrocket your results. Making things happen fast is the first step. The next step is making the right things happen. Simpleology keeps you on track and shortens that gap between where you are and where you want to be. And this is software. This is a software platform. It's simple and effective. Our software is easy enough for elementary school students, yet powerful enough for Fortune 500 executives. How can I say that? Because we have elementary school classrooms having their kids using Simpleology every day. And we have Fortune 500 executives. We have entire branches of the US government. We have Fortune 500 companies using Simpleology every single day. I want you to boost the effectiveness of your entire team. Think, if you can get done in just 2 hours, what normally takes you a day or a week, what would happen? Put your little finger to your chin now and say, what would happen if everybody inside my company was doing results like that. If you were to buy a 5-member annual license right now, it would cost you $5,820. And here is a short clip of but one of the many thousands upon thousands upon thousands of video and textual testimonials we have, and with stuff floods like this in every day from people using Simpleology. I want to give you just one short clip.
Hi there, my name's Les. Been asked to give a short testimonial on Simpleology, and I have no problem doing that whatsoever. I've been a Simpleology user for many, many years, and as a father of 3 young sons, an airline captain, director of a number of businesses, you'd say I have a pretty full plate. And as we all know, life is full of distractions. So Simpleology is my core productivity tool. So if I get blown off track, which inevitably we all do, I just come straight back there. Everything I need still waiting there for me, and then move it forward. Of course, the best way is to keep the habit, develop that habit using the productivity tool, all the great features that Simpleology has. If it helps you half as much as it's helped me, then you'll love it. Thanks.
You're also going to get Eric Graham's Ultimate Conversion Transformation Masterclass. If you remember, I mentioned that gentleman earlier in the presentation, and I mentioned that he has a masterclass where he shows you the mastery of conversion. This is that masterclass. In week 1, it's a system overview and sales funnel structure. Week 2, he shows you developing your target customer profile, essential first step that most people miss. Week 3, mastering copywriting fundamentals. Most people overcomplicate copywriting. Eric, just like we do at Simpleology, is going to simplify this for you so you can understand the fundamentals of copywriting in a quick and easy way. Week 4, you're going to learn advanced headline writing. Week 5, you're going to learn creating high converting opt-in landing pages. Week 6, crafting your irresistible IQ test offer. And as a guy who wrote the book on irresistible offers, I can tell you that this week 6 is absolutely amazing, mind-blowing stuff. This is why I bought this package, by the way, from Eric when I first met him on the stage. Week 7, advanced online persuasion and neuroscience. He's going to show you some really cool modern science, a lot of the stuff that people don't know that we've recently learned about the human mind that will make your persuasion that much more effective. Week 8, sales letter writing masterclass. Week 9, creating game changer VSLs, video sales letters. Very, very important to master the medium of video salesmanship in this era right now. Week 10, advanced webinar conversion workshop. You're going to learn how to put on webinars that pull dollars out of thin air. Week 11, upsell, downsell, offer creation and conversion. We were talking about funnels before. He's going to show you the right way to make funnels, how to absolutely tweak those to the point where they're squeezing every last possible dollar out of that funnel. You want to do that because otherwise you're leaving money on the table. You don't want to throw money away. Week 12, you're going to learn all about testing and tracking. This is the art and science of conversion rate optimization. And just like everything we do at Simpleology, this is easy to implement, immediate action assignments with checklists, procedures, and video tutorials and a lot more. And you're going to get lifetime access to the recordings and all future updates. I've seen Eric sell this from the stage for $2,997. And let me show you a few things. And I believe that's what I paid, as a matter of fact. I'm going to show you a few things that folks say about him. In the upper left there, you see a picture of a gentleman named Justin Brook. He is one of the greatest traffic experts alive right now, maybe the best on the planet. He says, Eric is the real deal, premium website conversion, traffic analytics, and split testing expert. Eric Graham came highly recommended when I was working as VP for .com Secret Sync. That's Russell Brunson's company, by the way. I now know why after having saw his results. I always hear the corny line, this doesn't cost you money, it makes / saves you money. I always hated that line until now. I can now say without feeling corny at all that hiring Eric Graham will not cost you money, but will make and save you money. He is the real deal, premium website conversion, traffic analytics, and split testing expert. Everyone should have a guy like this on their team. And that was from the great Justin Brook, a great guy and probably the best traffic expert on the planet. Now, if you look in the lower right there, a gentleman named David Trump. He has a Harvard MBA. He says, there was a higher ROI than getting my MBA at Harvard. After spending over $150,000 getting my MBA from Harvard Business School, I thought I knew everything about how to grow business. I was wrong. I've learned more about how to take a business to the next level from Eric Graham in the past 12 weeks than I learned from Harvard in 2 years. Just applying Eric's webinar conversion formula from Module 10 has made me over 6 figures in the past few weeks. Joining the Ultimate Conversion Transformation is the best investment I've ever made. Thanks, Eric. And by the way, guys, Eric Graham is also the guy I go to when I want to learn more about conversion rate optimization, because even though I invented the tracking pixel, he's the guy who wakes up every morning. That is his kung fu. He is the man who has practiced that kick 10,000, well, even more than that, times in his life. He is the man when it comes to conversion rate optimization. So in the Solomon's Arc Ascension Plan, you're going to get the Integration Marketing Masterclass, Integration Marketing Society lifetime membership, word of mouth transformation, Fire Mission Academy, Juggernaut Academy, Charisma Academy, 7-day business turnaround, the not so little calendar that grows your business, shipped to your door, bestseller blueprint, Simpleology 101, the simple science of getting what you want, Simpleology 102, the simple science of money, Simpleology 103, the simple science of energy, Simpleology 201, the simple science of leadership, Simpleology 202, the advanced science of money, Simpleology 203, the simple science of invincibility, the catalog of esoteric psychological lore, an annual 5-member Simpleology site license, Eric Graham's Ultimate Conversion Transformation Masterclass, total real world value, $28,612 plus the future annual price of Integration Marketing Society times however many years you live. And by the way, after Simpleology 103, I hope it's a lot more than you thought before. If you qualify, you're not going to pay $28,612, although it would be worth every dime. If you qualify, you're not going to pay $28,612. What if it was only $10,000? It would be an absolute steal at $10,000. But if you qualify, it's not going to cost you $28,000. It's not going to cost you $10,000. If you qualify and apply now, you can get started for as little as just $2K. So what I want you to do right now is click on the Apply Now button on this page, or go to joinims.com. If you go to joinims.com, do that in a new browser window, because we're going to go to Q&A here in a minute. When you do, you'll see a short application form with a few simple questions and an option to book an interview call with either myself or one of my team members. That's right. I take some of these calls myself. You might end up talking to me. And I do that on purpose. Why? Because I want to be in touch with the tribe. I need to know what's going on in your life. I can serve you better when I spend more time directly with you. I do this as much as I can. Our time is valuable, and we only have a handful of time slots reserved over the next week. So I apologize in advance if all the call slots are all filled. You may be able to get on our waiting list, but I can't guarantee you an interview. Now I have to warn you, not everyone who applies for the Solomon's Arc Ascension Plan and the Integration Marketing Society will be accepted. In fact, the majority of people who apply won't make the cut. The reason why is I want to protect the quality of the members we let into our exclusive secret society. This is like the Navy SEALs of entrepreneurship. And just like the SEALs, we are very selective about who we allow to join now. But also like the SEALs, if you make the cut, you're about to be trained in the most advanced and effective weapons, strategies, and tactics available anywhere at any investment. The other reason we require you to apply now before you join is I want to personally ensure that every single member has the ability and potential to achieve massive success. You see, unlike most other quote unquote marketers or programs out there, if my team and I are not 100% convinced you will see massive results, we won't accept your investment or invite you to join. In fact, I was on a call just last week where I had to make that call and I had to tell somebody, I don't think you're ready. No matter how bad you want in, if you're not ready, I'm not going to let you in. In fact, I'm so confident those who make the cut will succeed with the Solomon's Arc Ascension plan. I'm making the strongest guarantee I've ever offered. You get a 200% money back guarantee. I want to welcome Michael, who just booked his call. That's right. When you follow the Solomon's Arc Ascension plan for the next 90 days, if you don't at least double the amount of your investment, I'll personally refund double your money back out of my own pocket. So basically, if you're smart, you know that either way, you're going to get a 200% ROI when you apply right now. So by now you realize the only way you can't win is if you don't apply now to a join. Right now, you have two choices. Choice number one, do nothing. Stay vulnerable and at the mercy of big tech for all your traffic and leads, praying they don't shut down your ad accounts, and keep struggling to try and figure it all out by yourself. By the way, I want to welcome David, Martha, William. I got sticky notes around me of people who are booking their calls. That's awesome. I can't wait to speak to you guys. So how's that been working out for you, by the way? If you've been at the mercy of big tech, and if you keep struggling and trying to figure it all out by yourself, how has that been working out for you so far? Choice number two, apply now to join the Solomon's Arc Ascension plan. Show up on your interview. Show up and see if you qualify and make the cut. And if you do, begin to enjoy the support, help, and guidance of the most elite secret society of Navy SEAL entrepreneurs on the planet. Here's what is about to happen when you apply right now. When you click on the Apply Now button on this page or go to joinims.com in a new tab, you'll see something that looks like this. By the way, I want to welcome James. Get started by completing the application below. You're going to scroll down there and you're going to see a little start button. You want to click that start button to start the application process. Then you're going to see a little window that looks like this. We're going to ask you a series of questions. And by the time you're done completing those questions, you're going to set your time zone so we can, on the next page, pick a date and time for your call. Simple as that. And then you're going to fill in a little bit more information. I want to welcome Brenda. All right. Now, after you submit your application and book your call, make sure you add it to your calendar and watch for a couple reminder emails. And most important, actually show up on our call. I can't stress this enough. My time and the time of my team is valuable. I charge $10,000 per hour for consulting and coaching. So if you waste our time or no show, it's an automatic disqualification and there are no second chances. So before I open it up for Q&A, let me just recap and remind you what you're going to get when you apply to join the Solomon's Arc Ascension plan and, of course, make the cut. You're getting Integration Marketing Masterclass. You're getting Integration Marketing Society lifetime membership. You're getting Word of Mouth Transformation. You're getting Fire Mission Academy. You're getting Juggernaut Academy. You're getting Charisma Academy. You're getting the 7-Day Business Turnaround Kit, the Not So Little Calendar that grows your business, Bestseller Blueprint, Simpleology 101, the simple science of getting what you want, Simpleology 102, the simple science of money, Simpleology 103, the simple science of energy, Simpleology 201, the simple science of leadership, Simpleology 202, the advanced science of money, Simpleology 203, the simple science of invincibility, the catalog of esoteric psychological lore. You're going to get an annual 5-member Simpleology site license. That is a full year for 5 people of the full suite of Simpleology tools. You're getting Eric Graham's Ultimate Conversion Transformation Masterclass, total real world value, $28,612, plus the future annual price of Integration Marketing Society times however many years you live, and you can get started for as little as just $2K. Also remember, you can apply now with 100% confidence because you are totally protected by our 200% money back guarantee. Remember, when you follow the Solomon's Arc Ascension plan for the next 90 days, and by the way, it's a step-by-step plan. If you don't at least double the amount of your investment, I'll personally refund double your money back. Think about that. Put your finger to your chin and say, let me think about that. So either way, you're getting a 200% ROI when you apply right now. So what you want to do right now is click on the Apply Now button on this page, or go to, in a new tab, joinims.com. Do it in a new browser window or tab. Look, I know there's a lot in this package and program. Solomon's Arc Ascension Plan includes everything you need to succeed in business and even in life. And it may seem a bit overwhelming. Trust me, I've included every component in Solomon's Arc for a very specific reason, because this is structured as an ascension plan. You don't have to go through all of it at the same time. And in fact, I encourage you not to do that. Each component builds your skills and knowledge one step at a time. Also, because the Solomon's Arc Ascension Plan includes everything you need from A to Z, it will actually reduce the overwhelm you are already experiencing in your business and life. I got all these sticky notes of people signing up around me, David, Eleanor, Brett. All right, so this isn't about adding more overwhelm. It's about reducing overwhelm. In fact, that's the very first thing we're going to work on together, is getting you unoverwhelmed, getting your productivity fixed. That's because you'll no longer need to watch endless YouTube videos by course after course, trying to figure it all out by yourself. This program and the entire philosophy behind everything we do at Simpleology isn't about giving you more things to do. It's about helping you identify and focus on doing only the right things. This alone will save you so much time and wasted effort. And finally, when you begin to use and master Simpleology, you'll discover your day-to-day productivity will skyrocket. You'll eliminate procrastination and wasted time in your day, freeing up countless hours each week to focus on what really matters to you. Look, because you're still watching, I knew two very important things about you. Number one, I know you're an action taker. How do I know that about you? I know you're an action taker because you've already taken a ton of action to show up and be here right now. Action one, you clicked on an email link or an ad. Action two, you signed up for your Roadmap to Money in 2020 report, and hopefully you read it. Action number three, you registered for this masterclass. Action four, you showed up for this masterclass. Action five, you stayed on this long and are still watching. So congratulations, you are an action taker. And because you're an action taker and you're still watching, you know you want to apply to join us. So continue to take action and apply right now. I can't wait to see you inside Solomon's Arc. First, one final word from another action taker just like you.
A lot of the foundational concepts that we have inside of ClickFunnels today, how we structure order forms, how we do pages, how we do things, are all things I learned from Mark a decade and a half ago. And so if you haven't had a chance to meet Mark yet, if you haven't had a chance to learn from him, he is probably one of the first pioneers of online marketing. He's been called the godfather of internet marketing, and there's a reason why. So many things that we use today, the tracking pixel, split testing, ad tracking, ebooks, for crying out, all these things were things that he invented before anyone else even thought about it. So if you have a chance to learn from him and plug into his mind, he was my very first mentor. He's continuing to be a mentor to this day, and I hope you have a chance to be mentored by him as well.
So you know what to do. Click on the Apply Now button on this page or go to joinims.com, and I'll see you inside Solomon's Arc. You're still here? that must mean you have some questions. Remember, I promised a Q&A, and of course, I always keep my promises. So just type your questions into the talk mark box, and I'm going to stick around as long as I possibly can to try and answer as many questions as possible. Type your questions into the talk to mark box now. Now we see here from Stacy. Stacy says, will it work for my business? I don't do stuff online. I have a small retail store. All right. Well, Stacy, I want to tell you, this works for any business, be it an online business or an offline business. I don't care if you sell products or services. I don't care what kind of vertical market you are. I don't care if you're a B2B company or a B2C company. This stuff is universal. It applies to all businesses. By the way, I want to welcome James and Khabib and Mark, and I've got all these sticky notes around me of people coming in. So Stacy, yes, it will work for your business. Okay, so Ted says, I'm invested in oil and it crashed dramatically. What should I do? Well, Ted, I'll tell you right now, what you need to do is you need to start building the 3 hedges we talked about. All right. That crash that you just saw, I hate to say I told you so, but anybody who read your roadmap to money in 2020, 3 weeks ago, before all this stuff started going crazy, I mean, it's kind of uncanny how this timing worked out. You got to get involved in the 3 hedges. All right. Remember what the 3 hedges are. You've got to build a lifeboat business. You got to focus on your skills, your knowledge, and your health. And you've got to get big tech independence. Okay. So Claudia says, what are the terms and conditions of the 200% money back guarantee? Very good question. Okay. You've got to actually follow the plan. All right. So if you get in there and you don't do anything with it, of course, I can't promise you any results. I can only promise you results. And I want to welcome Deborah, by the way. Got more sticky notes around me. I can only promise results if you actually get in there and do it. So if you follow the plan over the course of the next 90 days and you don't get the results, you don't get 200% what you invested in it, I'm going to give you 200% back. Okay, but you got to actually follow the plan. I think that's pretty fair, wouldn't you say? All right. Now, T. Corey says, how would you apply this as a musician? That is a great question because I know lots and lots and lots of musicians. So T. Corey, what I will tell you is you got several different ways to make that happen. Okay, there's several different ways to make that happen. One of the classic ways, I know a lot of musicians do this, is they say, hey, I don't want to sign my life away to the record labels because they're going to rip me off anyway, like they did to the Backstreet Boys and to TLC and all those bands that got robbed by the record labels. And they say, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to become successful in my own right. And then I'm going to be successful in music after my business gets up and running. So if you have a lifeboat business, one of the side benefits of owning a lifeboat business is that it can run without you. So that's one way you can do it. Now, another thing you can do is you can turn your music into a business. Music is a business, right? So everything that we teach you inside the Solomon's Arc Ascension plan applies to a music business as well. If you run your musicianship as a business, and if you want to, there a lot of people have different feelings about that. They're like, no, I want my art just to be my art. I don't want it to be a business. Well, that's up to you. There are a lot of things you can do, but if you want the freedom to be able to do your art on your own terms, I want to welcome Tony and Lori. I got more sticky notes around me here. If you want to do it on your own terms, you got to put yourself in a situation where you have the freedom to do that. All right. So let me give you some ideas for musicianship. Do you think most of the money in music comes from the sale of the music itself? It's not the case. In fact, that's a tiny fraction of where most of the money in the music industry comes from. Most people now are making money from big shows or from merchandise or from other business deals or endorsements. The actual music part of it is a small fraction of the larger part of business. So, if I were to talk to you directly, I would want to find out more about your personal situation. And I would either advise you to set up a side business that you can have as your lifeboat business that frees up your life so you can focus on your musicianship, Or if you're ready to do it right away, you could start turning your music into a more profitable business right now. I mean, if you're already making money with your music, maybe you can make a lot more money with it. In fact, I'm pretty sure you could make a lot more money with it. William has a tough question for me, and I'm gonna take tough questions, guys. William says, is this call just some high pressure sales pitch? No, it's exactly the opposite of that. In fact, we're not going to be pitching you. You're going to be pitching us. It's an interview. It's an interview. We want to find out if you're ready. And like I told you, I took a call last week where I had to tell someone no. All right. I had to make certain recommendations to people based on the situations that they were in. If there are people who come in and they're not ready, or if they don't have the right attitude, we're not going to let them inside. By the way, when people come in and they've got the wrong attitude, by the way, I want to welcome Gene and Farhan and so many more of these floating around me. I'll tell you, guys, this group is growing fast, as you can see. We are very selective about who we bring in. If one negative person can bring the whole group down, all right? I was just in an event, a live event 2 weeks ago, where they actually kicked someone out of the audience because the guy had a bad attitude. And I was kind of glad they did it because the guy was acting like a jerk. And it made the event better when that guy wasn't there. So the pressure is going to be coming from you. You're going to be showing us that you're willing to show up and do the work. And by the way, I want to give you guys a little crib sheet here about how to pass this interview. Show us that you're a serious action taker. Show us that you're not going to just join and not do anything. Show us that you're serious. Show us how badly you want this to happen for yourself and your life. Show me how much you want to see these results for your family and your life. That's how to pass the interview. So William, no, this is not a sales pitch. This is you pitching me. This is you pitching me. All right, so Mary says, there is so much stuff. Where do I start? Well, Mary, guess what? The first thing that's going to happen when your application is accepted is you are going to go through what we call an onboarding process. We are going to get you signed up for certain things. We're going to get certain things set up for you. And then we're going to give you a day-to-day plan that you need to start implementing. All right. Now, by the way, there are different levels of this plan. There are different levels of this plan. All right. So if you want to, if the intense plan that we call the eat that frog plan, if that's too much for you, we've got a slower plan where you can kind of ease into things. Okay. But you really got to get yourself to the point where you can start doing that eat that frog plan every day, because that's where the results are going to come. That's where the results are going to come. But if you're not ready for that, that's okay. We make it easy. You know, some folks, I know you've got day jobs. You're like, you say, look, I've only got a couple hours a day to invest in building my business. That's fine. We've got you covered. We've got everybody covered. I want to welcome Dr. Kim. All right, I'm looking more questions here. All right, so Ted says, will it work for building MLM teams, selling products for MLM companies? I have a few. I believe in MSI, multiple streams of income. Ted, well, turns out you're in luck. I don't do network marketing or MLM anymore. I have owned 3 different network marketing companies. I was the top distributor for 3 other network marketing companies. I broke sales records in some network marketing companies. Just several weeks ago, I was giving advice on the Integration Marketing Society live weekly calls to a gentleman who does network marketing. He does Legal Shield. I was telling him, exactly what he needs to do to build his business up. Okay, so yes, it definitely works for any kind of business. Again, I'm not involved in MLM anymore now, but I've got nothing against anybody who does that. I'm more than happy to help you. This works for any business in any industry, whether it be B2B or B2C. I don't care if it's products or services. I don't care if it's a network marketing model or direct selling, or if it's direct marketing or online marketing or offline marketing. This is designed to work universally. Okay, so Ming says, what happens if you miss an appointment and get disqualified? Well, if you miss an appointment and get disqualified, that's it. I hate to tell you. If you miss an appointment, that's a deal breaker. That's a deal breaker. Okay. You got to show up on the appointment. All right. If you're disqualified, we might tell you that you got to go do a few things and come back and get ready. All right. So we're going to find out. Now, by the way, I'm telling you right now, the key to this, guys, is that you are ready to show up and work your butt off and be committed and have the right attitude. That's primarily what you're looking for. Okay. But if you have wrong expectations, we're going to correct your mind about that too. We're going to give you realistic expectations about what you can expect from this. All right. So, we're not there to be big bad meanies to you. We're there to help you succeed. And we're there to be honest with you and real with you. I don't want to take money from you if I don't think I can help you. All right. So Caldoon says, so if I join today your ARC system and I follow through, I have no business now. How long will it take average time to start making money? Thank you, Mark. Well, in your case, we're going to probably put you on a slightly different plan, because if you don't have a business, we need to get you to build your business up. So when you talk to the interviewer, they're going to have a conversation with you about that. I'm not going to make you any big promises here that I can't keep. If you don't have a business ready to go right now, I'm going to say, well, let's work something else out here. If you've got the right attitude and you're an action taker and you're ready to hustle, we'll make something happen that makes sense for you in your situation. Now, it might be, depending on what your experience level is, it might be that I advise you to become an integration marketing deal broker. It might be that, if you've got a great business idea, that you pursue that. Okay, it depends. That's why this is a conversation. It's an interview again. So now, by the way, I want everyone to go to joinims.com or click the apply now button. And I want to welcome all of the new people who have been submitting their applications. Now, I'm going to look through here for some more questions here. Right. So Dwayne says, I don't have time to go through all that stuff. Dwayne, you don't have time to not go through all that stuff. Okay. You think you don't have time. That's all the more reason to do this, because this is actually going to free up more time for you. All right. The reason you don't have time right now is because you're not managing your time properly. You're focusing on the wrong stuff. We're going to fix that for you immediately with Simpleology. And then we're going to make it so you don't have to go running around from YouTube video to course to seminar to figure this stuff out. We're going to show you the real stuff that works, so you don't have time not to do this stuff. Matt says, I bought stuff in the past and never did anything with it. Is there anything in here that will help me actually follow through this time? As a matter of fact, yes. One thing I would advise you, Matt, is to right away go through Juggernaut Academy. Juggernaut Academy is going to light a fire under your butt. It's going to teach you why you haven't been following through. It's going to teach you to tap into what I call the everyman superpower. When you really understand that, it is like flipping a switch inside your head so that you don't sit around there anymore binge watching junk, binging social media. You flip a switch in your head and you go, hey, wait a minute. There's all this stuff I want in my life, and I'm wasting all my time on YouTube, on Netflix, on Facebook, when I could be taking tangible action to actually get the things I want in my life. I'm going to flip that switch in your head. I want to have it permanently on. And I'm going to give you a little cheat sheet so that you can do that every day. I want to welcome Derek. Kimmy asks, and I welcome also Julia. Kimmy asks, what if I want a refund? Kimmy, within the first 60 days, if you are unhappy for any reason, even if you didn't follow the plan, we will give you a full and complete, no hassle, no risk refund of every cent you paid on the spot. Now, I'm going to be very blunt and direct with you guys. If you want the 200% refund, you got to show me that you followed the plan. I think that's fair. But if after 60 days you just say, hey, you know what? I didn't like the color of the fonts they used. Or I don't care what the reason is. It's no questions, no hassles, full refund. You got 60 days. Okay. I'm making this zero risk for you. And by the way, we have a very, very good reputation on the internet for following through on that. All right. And my customer care team knows that I take this very, very seriously. I protect our reputation about refunds like I'm protecting my life. Why? Because I don't want people who are unhappy with my company running around spreading bad words. And also, if somebody didn't get the results that they wanted from my product, I don't want their money. I want your money if I got you a result. In fact, I want you to be happy that you invested with me. I want you to say, I got not just a 2 times return on investment, I got a 1,000 times investment. Let me tell you a little story about that. Okay, I was at speaking at an event just 2 weeks ago, and I'll show you guys the video of this. I'm not just pulling this out of my behind. I will post this video on social here pretty soon. A gentleman came up to me at the event and he said, Mark, I came here and I flew to Phuket, Thailand for one reason, because I wanted to tell you a story. And I said, well, I got to hear this story now. And he says, I want to tell you a story. Years ago, just like Russell Brunson, you saw the video of him telling you a very similar story. He bought a package that I sold years ago. And Russell Brunson, you see where he is now as a result of that. He said, Mark, I took what you taught me in that package and I turned it into $28 million in sales, and $8 million of those dollars were profit. And he said, I just wanted to come up to you and I wanted to give you a hug and say, thank you. You're my hero. Okay. That is the kind of result I want to see for you. Now, can I promise you that result? No, of course not. I'd be a bald-faced liar if I told you you're going to get that result. Okay. It doesn't make any sense for me to promise that to you, but it's possible. That's what I want to see. It's what I want to see. What you get out of this is going to partly depend on what you put into it. This is why we filter through the applications to make sure that we only have action takers inside of Solomon's Ark. So we got a message here from Brenda. I have worked with your company for years now, and your value system and ladder are burnished with your character, and your word is more valuable than even your top shelf products. Thank you very, very much for that. I want to welcome Malpin. So Herman has 2 questions. 1, just starting from scratch with huge upside potential in my space. Children's edutainment platform. Ooh, I love that. Will this work? Absolutely. And by the way, I'm going to give you one quick shot of advice, just some right out of the gate advice. Here's something you need to understand. It's children's edutainment space. You're not selling to children. You're selling to the parents. Okay, so when you get on Integration Marketing Society live broadcasts, I hope that you will make yourself available for a live business breakdown, because I do that from time to time with members. I'm inviting you right now to do that, because children's edutainment is something that I want to see more of in this world. You know, sorry, I just got sidetracked there for a second, guys. You know, children's edutainment is something that's absolutely needed. And right now, by the way, while all of these school shutdowns are happening, that's, you know, we need that more and more. So guys, I'm just going to be perfectly transparent with you. You know, my partner here was handing me a note about just exactly that note, and I didn't understand the point they were trying to make. They wanted me to point out to you that right now, with all of these school closures, you are actually in a very, very good point in time in history to sell children's edutainment, because we're going to start seeing a lot more homeschooling depending on how long these lockdowns last. Now, by the way, I would recommend that you don't limit your education products to just one locale. I would recommend going as international as you can, because if this pandemic affects the whole world, we're going to see a whole lot of people. Now, question number 2 from Herman was, are payment plans available? Yes, there are. Fill out the applications. What I want everyone to do now is to click join now, or go to joinims.com and fill out the application. We are going to work with you where you are right now in the moment. Whether you have a business right now or not, whether you are just starting out in business, or you've been in business for 10 years. I don't care what business model you have. We're going to work with you where you are. So Brett says, do you have examples of this working in a B2B business? Well, Brett, I gave you one right on the live broadcast itself. What do you think that was with Microsoft and IBM? Okay, that was a business-to-business transaction of integration marketing working beautifully. I'll give you another example. All right, so there are real estate brokers inside Integration Marketing Society. In fact, we have some very, very successful real estate brokers inside Integration Marketing Society. And I am helping them create deals with affinity markets. So they are cutting integration marketing deals with insurance agents, for example. And I'm just kind of opening up your mind. So someone else asks, is there a payment plan? Yes, we will work with you. We will work with you. So Farhan says, with coronavirus, it's becoming difficult to get paid on time. Well, that is why you need a lifeboat business. And I again, you know, I hate saying I told you so to people. I've been talking about this day coming for years now. I've been warning people about this. And your roadmap to money in 2020 came out 3 weeks before all the coronavirus shutdowns started happening. The coronavirus was we were just starting to talk about it. Nobody was really taking it seriously. And I was telling people to get ready for mass disruption. I don't think coronavirus is the only source of disruption we're going to see in this era. I think when we get past this, we're going to see a lot more. That's why I need everyone to read your roadmap to money in 2020. So it's becoming difficult to get paid on time. That's exactly the point. That is why you need to join Solomon's Ark and build your own lifeboat business and engage in all 3 hedges right now. And you do that by clicking on the Apply Now button or by opening up a new browser tab and going to joinims.com. You cannot rely on the government. You cannot rely on the company that you're working for right now. Those days are over now. I am sorry to say, my friends, those days are over. Let's face it. Let's accept it. Let's take action. Now, I told you guys at the beginning, I'm not one of these, if you came here to hear a whole bunch of doom and gloom prognostication about coronavirus, you're in the wrong place. This is a place of optimism. I want to welcome Steve. I want to welcome Kenneth. I want to welcome Paul. I want to welcome Amy. I got all these stickers around me for members coming in. This is awesome. All right. This is a place of hope and optimism. This is a place of us finding real world solutions to what is going on in your life right now. And there's some pretty heavy real world stuff going on in the world right now. All right. I want to help you get through it. That's the whole point of it. Okay, so Kim asks, what sort of things do you require for us to be properly prepared for the call? Kim, to be properly prepared for the call, be prepared. I want to welcome Jane and Ziad. Okay, we've got so many more of these stickies around me. What you need to be prepared for the call is you need to be prepared to be honest and to tell us the reality of what situation you're in right now. That is all you need. That is all you need. Tell me what your business situation is right now. Be real. Be real. And be honest. That's all we ask. Okay? You don't need to talk us into it. Okay? What you need to do is you need to show us that you're ready and that you want it bad enough. That's the most important stuff. Okay. All right. So let me see here. Let's look through some more questions. So Gary says, the social media posting and engagement thing in the group sounds cool and promising. How does that work? Well, Gary, what you do inside the Integration Marketing Society deal room, what you do is you do a give me a boost request. Now, by the way, every day you get a post, you get a post inside the deal room, an integration marketing deal pitch, or a give me a boost request. With the give me a boost request, I have a little template there that you fill out. You show the link to the social media post that you want to have boosted. And then you tell people what you want. You say, hey, I want a lot of comments, or I want likes, or I want shares, whatever it is. And then the members, and as we grow and more members is going to become more and more valuable, you're going to get bigger and bigger boosts as Integration Marketing Society gets bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, so Rod asks, in this hyper-competitive age, how would you market consultancy services? Rod, that is a fantastic question. All right, so in the age of hyper-competitiveness, what you need is hyper-differentiation. You need to show that you are superior to all of the alternatives out there. And how do you do that? By actually being superior. How do you actually be superior? Take a look at your competition. And I guarantee you most of your competition is lazy. All right? So you talk to your, by the way, I want to welcome Al Rawi. All right, so take a look at your competition, talk to your potential clients, find out what their biggest complaints are, find out what kind of problems they've had with other alternatives to what you're offering. Solve those problems in a uniquely powerful way. All right, so Kim says, thank you for answering my previous question. I've accidentally booked at the incorrect time for the call. How can I change this, please? Kim, all you need to do is send an email to support@simpleology.com and they can change that appointment time for you. And in fact, if you tell me what appointment time you're looking for, maybe we can change it for you right there on the supply. Now, Freddie asks, what if I need support or have questions? Freddie, we have a 24/7 customer care team standing by at all times. And inside Integration Marketing Society, we have a community there. So that community actually has two components. The first component is you get a board where you can post those deal pitches or those give me a boost requests. On the side, we have a little chat widget. And by the way, we've got some of the best and brightest business experts in the world already inside there giving people free advice. So you've got lots of options for getting that advice. Plus, every single week, I do a live Integration Marketing Society live huddle with everyone where you guys get to ask me any question you have live in real time. I do that every single week for the group. I want to welcome Lucero. I do that every single week for the whole membership community. All right. And I plan on continuing to do that to my last breath because this is my calling. This is what I want to do. I want to help businesses succeed. All right. Now, I want you guys to click on the join or apply now button or go to joinims.com. Click on apply now or joinims.com. You remember what that looks like. You're going to go through a little process there. It's going to take you just a few seconds to fill out the application, and then we're going to book and schedule your call. All right, so Jose says, I already submitted my application and booked the call. How long should I expect the call to take, and what kind of questions should I be prepared for? Jose, I'm not going to tell you what kind of questions we're going to ask. It's going to depend a little bit on you, but we're going to ask you some basic questions about your situation. What I want you to be ready for is just to be honest and to be open and to be real, okay? The call is going to depend on your situation. If your situation is complicated, it might take a little bit longer. If your situation is really simple and we know you're a good fit right out of the gate and we can tell that right away, it won't take too long at all right? But if you're in a situation where we got to figure out, is this really the right move for you? We're going to have to ask you more questions. So be ready for that. Just be ready for that. Okay, so now David asks, how much does it cost? Well, if you don't apply or if you don't qualify on the call, the investment is nothing. But like I said in the video, if you're accepted, you can get started for as little as $2,000, depending on what options you choose. Okay, now I want everyone to go to joinims.com or click on the apply now button. So Farhan says, will call times be at UK friendly times or all calls webinars at Australia time? we do have UK-friendly time slots available. All right, so if you're not seeing one available, I want you to send an email to support@simpleology.com and we can make one available for you. All right, so we have to manage these quite carefully. Actually, as these calls come in, we want to make sure that we have the right people there talking to folks. So we have to manage this very thoughtfully. But Farhan, we will work something out with you. Oh, and by the way, so now let me be very clear with you about that. So the weekly calls with Integration Marketing Society are happening now at 9 p.m. Eastern. Now we might bump that up to 8 p.m. Eastern to make that a little bit easier for some of the folks in the UK. And we are considering from time to time making some of the weekly calls happen at a different time zone. That's something we haven't made a decision on yet, just to be completely transparent with you. But it's something I'm strongly considering. Depending on how strong the European contingent becomes, we might, flip them around back and forth so that we have, one at an earlier time and one at a later time that's a little friendlier to the UK and to folks all throughout Europe. But right now, the majority of people, and by the way, I want to welcome John. All right, so we have people, primarily in the United States and in, and in that hemisphere. Okay, and we have people in Asia. Those call times tend to work very well for them and for everybody in Australasia. The ones who they've been a little bit late for the folks in Europe. So what I would tell you, Farhan, is if we get more people coming in from the UK, the more likely it is going to be that we will open up a new weekly call time where I will be taking live questions from people inside that particular time window. But just wanted to be completely transparent with you about that. That decision is going to depend on the membership numbers. So what I would recommend to you, Farhan, is join and also get more of your friends in Europe to join. And the more people in Europe that we have, the way more likely it's going to be that I will have more of those time slots available like that. I want to welcome Joyce, Wendy, Jack. I've got all these stickers floating around me here. All right, let me scroll through here and see how many more questions we've got. So Victoria says, I'm unemployed at the moment and I don't have a business. Well, so you got a couple of options there. I don't know what kind of money you have saved up. This is why we're going to have a conversation. If you don't have any money saved up at all and you don't have any credit, this may not be the right thing for you, right? But if you've got credit and you've got willingness and you've got time, I hate to tell you, but there may not be jobs, for a lot of people right now in the real world. That's a fact that we have to face. A lot of us are going to be forced into entrepreneurship. I consider myself quite fortunate to have invested in entrepreneurship when I was very, very young. You can see this as an investment when you join. Think about that. If there are no jobs, what are you going to do? You need to invest into entrepreneurship. It might be the only option you have. All right. Let me see here. I'm scrolling through. We've got so many questions to go through here. All right. Okay. Guys, I really appreciate all these wonderful comments. So Brenda here says, I've invested many dollars and hours in your integrity, currently working to complete my black belt and your character. Oh, okay. We already read that one from Brenda. Wow. Yeah, it's hard to go through. There's so many questions here. I think we're probably getting pretty close to wrapping up here, guys. Let me just look through and see if I have any other really important questions here to answer. Okay, I think we've covered most of the really important stuff here. Folks, click on the Apply Now button, open up a new tab, go to joinims.com. Let me scroll through here and see if we've got any other questions here. Okay, Herman has got, I want to respond to this. Actually, two things here. So Ziad wrote in and says, if you want it badly enough, time zones are the least thing you should be thinking about. I can't comment on that. That's yeah, and I know it, and by the way, but at the same time, Ziad, there's a lot of wisdom in what you're saying. At the same time, I am sympathetic to folks, in the European time zone, and we do want to, make that work out better for them. And it looks like Farhan has just booked a time in, so awesome. That's great that you're getting in there, Farhan. I look forward to seeing you inside. Now, Herman came back and he said, Mark, thanks for the succinct and valuable reply. We have a significant music and movie celebrity and his network, 550 million social reach, as the creative leadership of this venture. Wow. Okay, so you have a pretty enormous thing on your hands then. There's a team of 10 people total, 3 to 4 development with an A-level team of engineers and developer. I want to welcome Chris, by the way. Just want to make sure that the notes are available to support my enrollment actions to get them on board the IMS value proposition. Reply confirmation by email is fine. We'll go to apply page to submit. Herman, yeah, someone like you, I absolutely want to work with you because you will be a valuable asset and ally for not just me, but for everybody inside the entire community. And yes, this stuff totally works for someone in your situation. In fact, you are probably sitting on an enormous gold mine, and I will invite you right now, Herman, when you apply and you're accepted, I would like to invite you to be a guest on one of the Integration Marketing Society live calls, because I think that would be very, very instructive for everyone. I will get to work on you directly one-on-one with your personal situation. Hopefully you can share with us who this person is. It sounds like somebody we would probably all recognize. And I think that the membership would love to hear some behind the scenes information about that. And if you guys are kind of willing to do a kimono lift in front of the secret society so everybody can benefit from it, I will create a plan for you guys that will pull hidden money that is sitting invisibly inside what you have. Because if you have a celebrity that's got a 550 million social reach following, you have an enormous business opportunity. And I can almost guarantee that you're only scratching a tiny fraction of the revenue potential that you have for that person. So Herman, I am inviting you right now. I'm inviting you right now to be a guest on Integration Marketing Society live so that we can talk about that. I would love to have that conversation. All right. Okay, so Kenneth says, how can you trust what your affiliates and integration partners earn? By the way, I want to welcome Stanislaw. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So Kenneth, that is a great question. You can't. Okay, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. You can't trust that. Sometimes some affiliate marketers lie to you. They misreport information. You need to smoke those people out, get them out of your periphery, and work with people you can trust. Now, this is why at Simpleology, by the way, when we send out our affiliate commissions to people, we send out a little notice and we tell people how many. So we send out weekly payments. And when we send out that weekly payment, we include a little email that says how many weeks we've sent out weekly payments, how many times we were on time, how many times we were late. I think we've been late maybe about 4 or 5 times. Okay. And when we were late by about a day. All right. So when the affiliate commissions go out, people know, they go, wow, these guys have been making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of weekly commissions every week. We know that we can trust these guys. And we give you detailed tracking inside so that you can track this stuff by campaign. So we track it by campaign. All right. Now, by the way, this is why we interview people for Integration Marketing Society, because I don't want a single person in there making an integration marketing deal with you that seems shady. That's something else that we're looking out for on these interviews. If somebody has a product that I think is a product that is not good for society, for example, if somebody were selling heroin, I certainly wouldn't want to enable them selling more heroin and ruining more children's lives. I don't want them in our group. If they seem like they're the kind of people who would do shady deals, I don't want them in the secret society. I want to welcome Chappelle. All right, so Kenneth, I just got to be open and honest with you. This is a tough world. Okay, there are people out there that cannot be trusted. You're gonna bounce into them. You're not gonna see too many of them inside Integration Marketing Society, because if I see that once, boom, that's an instant bounce. That's an instant bounce. Okay, so but be ready for that, because as you're going out there and you're working deals, you're gonna find it. It's gonna happen. Ted says, wow, you just exercised what you taught. The gentleman with a celebrity and 500,000 following is a traffic source owner. Connect with the unit of marketing value, or may have a unit of marketing value, etc. It was amazing. I could see your integration marketing alert light come on. Ted, exactly. This is because I practice what I preach. When Herman was telling me that, I was immediate. By the way, welcome to Philip. I was immediately seeing opportunity there. I thought, wow, I want to work with this guy. Why would I not want to work with somebody who has access to a 550 million social following celebrity under their belt? I want to take special care and make especially certain that you're successful in that case. Ted, exactly. In fact, when you said the alert light, let's look at it this way. Have you ever seen that film, They Live? It's one of these funny old sci-fi movies where this guy has a special pair of glasses and it allows him to see that the world isn't what he thought it was. But when the glasses are off, you know, the world goes back to normal. Well, integration marketing is kind of like that pair of glasses. Once you have the integration marketing glasses on, you see money everywhere. My integration marketing glasses, or goggles if you want to call them, they are on all the time. All the time. I'm always looking out for those opportunities. All right, guys, I think we're at the end of our questions here. I want everybody to click on the Apply Now button, or go to another tab and go to joinims.com. Kevin says, Rowdy Piper was in that movie. Yes, he was, as a matter of fact. Pretty darn good movie, as a matter of fact. It's very entertaining and maybe a very interesting metaphor as well. All right, so click on Apply Now, go to joinims.com, and I will see everyone here inside of Solomon's Ark.